Chapter 427. There was a huge difference in the amount of funds in these three accounts. The largest was the account that could be obtained when one became a region lord. That account contained all the remaining funds from the teacher's 5-star account. "I'm sorry I can't," Babata said. "My Masha clansman is universe level 2. Luo Feng couldn't help but say. "No, Luo Feng, you forgot. The 3 accounts your teacher left behind don't just require strength. At the same time, you must open the account in the real world, and when you open the account, you need to test your psychic power. It must be the psychic power of the UNMO planet, only then can you open the account," Babata said. Luo Feng frowned. "The Masha clansman is my clone, it can easily use my spirit energy." "Wrong. The Masha clansman is an energy life form. Its true form is that life crystal core. It doesn't have any telekinesis power. How could it have yours?" Babata said. Luo Feng was stunned. It didn't matter if they were humans, monsters, or even the giant star beasts. Even if he walked the path of physical combat, he still had his soul and mind power. Telekinesis was a part of the soul, but energy life forms were different in terms of life form. Their core was the life crystal core, and they did not have any telekinesis. Another example would be mechanical lives. They were all artificial intelligence lives and did not have psychic powers. Therefore back then, on the UNMO planet ship, including the UNMO planet master, Hu Yenbo and his undying servants, all died. But Babata didn't die because Babata was an AI. Life forms were different and even their lifespans were different. Even if AIs were not undying, they could still continue to live, just like that Lord Wu. "Damn." Luo Feng shook his head. "I thought." "How disappointing." Luo Feng was helpless. "You bastard, don't take it for granted," Babata said. "One of your bodies is the golden horned beast, one of the pinnacle bloodlines in the universe. Another doppelganger was from the Masha clan, known as the strongest assassin clan. You've taken advantage of me. Why are you still disappointed? I didn't expect you to have such a freakish doppelganger." Haha, Luo Feng laughed. The golden horned beast, Masha clan, they were all extremely rare in the universe. Many undying had never seen it before. For Luo Feng to be able to get these 2 bodies, he had a huge advantage. "Alright, let's continue practicing flying." Luo Feng smiled, becoming a beam of light and flying into the deep pit on the surface of Mars in the universe ship. After entering the ship, his consciousness connected to the Virtual Universe network. Virtual Universe, Black Dragon Mountain Islands, Slaughter Space. "Appear." The little demon Babata waved his hand, and suddenly the space around him changed, and a large mechanical factory appeared. Inside the factory, there were all kinds of mechanical traps that had been prepared for a long time. At a glance, the entire factory looked like a beehive densely packed with traps. If one were to fly around the factory, they would easily trigger the traps. This is the test for the first level of the 10,000 thread stream, the single thread stream. Babata pointed at the mechanical plant in front of him that looked like an inescapable net. If you can get your hands on all 3,189 red balls in the plant without being hit by the attacks of these mechanical devices, then you'll be considered to have reached the first line stream. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. Yes. Ever since he lost the battle with Rongjun, Luo Feng realized that as a powerful spirit reader controller, he had to be very good at flying. A person's energy was limited. It wasn't very possible to be both a spirit reader and a fighter. Normally they would focus on one. Naturally they would spend their energy on this, and naturally they would value flying. There were battle techniques. There were hypnotist battle techniques like the soul imprint battle technique. There were controller battle techniques. Actually, the Nanshin armament's 9 levels were a type of training technique. Defense, there were defense techniques too. Like the void pagoda of the soul and body defense, one could rely on weapons or armor. As for movement, a fighter's dodging and maneuvering techniques too. Spirit readers stepping on spirit weapons to fly too had their own techniques. Even to the point, even beast taming, body stealing, enslaving, cloning, etc., there were all sorts of mysterious technique. There were only so many so-called origin laws, but origin laws were equivalent to cultural knowledge. By understanding the same cultural knowledge, some people would be able to achieve success and fame, while others would fade into obscurity. One theory, this technique, was to unleash the origin law's power to the fullest. The Nanshin armament could unleash the origin law's battle power. Soul imprint was also possible. Void pagoda was also possible. Absolute space was also possible. 10,000 threads was also possible. Back when he was defeated by Rongjun, Luo Feng first followed Babata's suggestion, choosing the level 5 spirit weapon Dark Cloud Shuttle. Then, he chose the secret technique of the Spirit Reader flying technique, 10,000 thread flow. His teacher, the master of the Unmo planet, as a powerful spirit reader, knew quite a few flying technique. However, Luo Feng's choice was different from his teacher's. Back then, the master of the Unmo planet, Hu Yenbo, trained in the flying technique space control. In terms of technique power, there was no difference between the two. In terms of rarity, the space control flying technique was even rarer, and the 10,000 threads technique was more widespread. Many Undyings knew about it. However, being widespread didn't mean its power was weak. This 10,000 threads technique, from what Babata said, why do I feel like it's very similar to absolute space? Luo Feng asked Babata this back then. Babata replied, it is very similar. Your absolute space's second level, infinite changes, is equivalent to the 10,000 threads highest level, and the 10,000 threads legends say that there's an even higher level of teleportation, however no one knows the training method. Absolute space was divided into 3 levels. The first level was arc light, the second level was myriad changes, and the third level was teleportation. The 10,000 threads technique, split. The first level, thread, was comparable to the first level of absolute space, arc light. The second level, 9 threads. The third level, 100 threads. The fourth level, 10,000 threads. At this point, it was comparable to the second level of absolute space, infinite changes. Legends say that there's still the highest level of teleportation. However, at least the techniques that were spread around didn't have the final training method. This was also the reason why Babata was so shocked when he found out that absolute space actually had a complete training method for teleportation. After all, the path of comprehending the origin laws was very difficult. With a clear path, it would save a lot of time and energy. A precious technique, even if someone was willing to teach it, the most precious part was still infinitely precious. Alright, what you said makes sense. This 10,000 thread technique and my absolute space technique walk the same path. Even though the training method is different, the path is the same. Comparing the two, I'll be able to train with twice the results with half the effort. This is it. Luo Feng chose this flying technique just like that. After 3 years, Luo Feng had long passed the 10,000 threads basic training. Stepping on the Dark Cloud Shuttle, flying was already perfect. However, he still didn't succeed in the first level, 1 thread. Chi. A steel wire touched Luo Feng's back. Chi. 3 nails shot out, one of them touched Luo Feng's calf. Fail! Babata shouted. From the sky full of weapons, Luo Feng became a peculiar image, immediately flying back to Babata's side, shaking his head. The 1 thread test is too difficult. If I used the Masha clansman, I would be able to easily dodge. Luo Feng smiled. 1. The virtual universe company provides the same body. 2. The Masha clansman is an energy life form, not a human. They have no way of participating in the genius battle. The little demon raised 2 fingers. I'll give you a suggestion. Return to reality now. Let the Masha clansman transform into the golden horned beast and train absolute space. Luo Feng nodded. Solar system, Mars surface. the black-clothed Luo Feng within the red sandstorm that engulfed the land and skies, immediately transforming. His entire being was like the energy flow, becoming a 12 m-long golden-horned beast. His appearance was exactly the same as the real golden-horned beast. This size could only be described as a golden-horned beast infant. Within his body, the 10,081 black nuclei slightly revolved. On it incomparably complex golden engravings faintly resonated with space. It's too beautiful, this feeling. The little golden-horned beast's eyes were filled with excitement. It could clearly feel the ripples in space. It was so familiar, so beautiful, as though it had returned to its mother's embrace. Let's begin. Rumble. The little golden-horned beast immediately followed Absolute Space's instructions and began to train. Its scaled wings, claws and tail all had to be used, especially its long tail. It could easily make minute changes in direction. 2 golden-horned beasts. 3, 4, 5. Little golden-horned beasts appeared all around. In a short while, 9 little golden-horned beasts appeared. This golden-horned beast's body structure is indeed the most suitable for absolute space training. This Masha clansman, when in human form, can only unleash 5 clones, and when in the golden-horned beast form, it can unleash 9. The little golden-horned beast was completely immersed in absolute space training. This technique was created by an ancestor of the golden-horned beast. It was specially created and modified for the golden-horned beast. Humans can't even train it, because it has no tail, no wings. How beautiful! Immersed in absolute space training, the little golden-horned beast's understanding of the space origin laws was almost within reach. Time passed day by day. The golden-horned beast trained and comprehended the gold origin laws, while the Masha clansman transformed into the little golden-horned beast to train in absolute space. And Luo Feng's main body merged the training of the 2 great bodies into one. Working hard on studying the Nanshin armament, training hard on the 10,000-thread flying technique. Under such high-efficiency training, Luo Feng's strength seemed to rise every day. November, December, January. Finally, it was China year 2070, September, and the entire human race of the 1008 universe countries had gathered over 1 million geniuses. The pinnacle battle was held in this month. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 428. China year 2070, September 5th. Early in the morning, Luo Feng stood on his balcony, looking at the red sun that had just revealed half its face in the east. Even though it was summer, the morning was still rather cool. Early in the morning on the balcony, watching the sunrise. Dressed in a nightgown, Su Xin walked up too. She looked at the current Luo Feng, this man before her. Even though his reputation on Earth had reached the pinnacle, he still spent almost all of his energy on the path of a strong warrior. Regarding this, Su Xin wasn't dissatisfied at all. She knew what was important. Only occasionally she would feel a little sour within, because sometimes when Luo Feng went all out in his training, he would go into closed-door training for 10 days to half a month. Of course, normally Luo Feng cared a lot about his family. Right. Luo Feng looked at the distant rising sun in the east, smiling and nodding. These few days you've been spending all your time on your training, it's almost like you haven't seen the sunrise in a long time. Su Xin said, sometimes you should relax a little, don't tire yourself out. Luo Feng looked at his wife, extending his hand and gently hugging her, saying softly, my wife, I'm sorry. We're already an old couple, why are you so mushy? Su Xin's face flushed red. Luo Feng laughed. Tomorrow, the battle will begin. Luo Feng looked at the distant rising sun, exclaiming, that's 1 million geniuses from the many universe countries. According to the Ganwu universe country situation of these million geniuses, over half have stepped through the gateway of the origin laws. In the Battle Axe Colosseum, universe-level warriors that had stepped through the gateway of the origin laws were considered invincible. However, in truth, in the universe, there were many star levels that had stepped through the gateway. The entire human race, these absolute geniuses numbered in the hundreds of thousands. However, with 1,008 universe countries, on average, each country had a few hundred of them. The Ganwu universe country leader even ordered an undying to specially invite these absolute geniuses to the Ganwu secret area. One could only imagine how precious these seedlings were. These absolute geniuses, how could they be sent to the Battle Axe Coliseum to risk their lives? That way, the chances of them dying were too high. Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-star Bay District. Dad, do your best. Two extremely similar-looking youths looked at Luo Feng. Their gazes were filled with worship. This pair of twins were Luo Feng's sons, Ping Ping and Little Hai. In terms of age, they were already 11 years old. As they had been nurtured well since young, they were already at the Student 9 level when they were kids, and had already stepped into the Star Traveler level. This allowed their physical development to be comparable to that of an ordinary 14 or 15-year-old teenager on Earth. In terms of appearance, he had inherited Su Xian's good points and was very handsome. He wasn't as normal as Luo Feng. Among them, the elder brother, Luo Ping, had a better temper and a gentle personality. He had changed a lot since he was young. Luo Hai, on the other hand, was very noisy. However, because they grew up in such a family, their tutors were Di Fan and Bai Kaluo, these two Universe Level 9 warriors. Bai Kaluo received Luo Feng's UNMO planet training techniques and broke through to the Universe Level 9 last year. The guards and servants in the house were all star levels. Along with Luo Feng's glory, Luo Ping and Luo Hai worshipped their father since they were young. He was proud to have such a father growing up in such a family. Although Luo Ping and Luo Hai's personalities were slightly different, they had one thing in common. They wanted to become strong. What was special was that these two brothers loved to battle in virtual reality games since they were young. Even though they later awakened their spirit energy, their talent was weaker than Luo Feng's. However, the two of them chose to become fighters. This made their father, Luo Feng, feel helpless. "Daddy is the strongest!" Little Hai shouted loudly. "Ha ha!" Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. 30, do your best. Thunder God, who was standing beside, waved his fist and shouted, "You don't just represent the Ganwu universe country, more importantly, you represent the people of Earth." "Well said." Luo Hongguo nodded and shouted, his face filled with joy, "Little Feng, your second brother is right, you also represent the people of Earth. Even though there are trillions of life planets in the universe countries, with 1,008 universe countries added together, it's even more shocking. However, you have to do your best to fight for the people of Earth." Luo Feng nodded. In their hearts, whether it was Thunder God, Hong or Luo Feng, their sense of belonging to Earth was even stronger. "I'll head out first." Luo Feng immediately took big steps and left. In the various continents and islands of the virtual universe, over 1 million absolute geniuses from the 1,008 universe countries were teleporting to the various gathering points of the universe countries. On a floating island in the air above the Ganwu continent, Shua, Luo Feng appeared on the teleportation point of the floating island. "Mr. Luo Feng, please walk this way." Standing beside the teleportation point was a universe-level warrior dressed in work uniform, smiling as he pointed to a path beside him. "Thank you." Luo Feng smiled and nodded, following the path and walking. After a while, Luo Feng saw that not too far away, in a plaza surrounded by beautiful flowers and grass, there was a large group of people gathered. With just a glance, there were a few hundred of them, both men and women, all of different looks. However, at least a third of them looked closer to the people of Earth, as the people of Earth were considered the mainstream in the universe. "Luo Feng is here. That madman." Many young men and women looked over. These few hundred people had all obtained a spot. This time the Ganwu universe country was sending out 1,000 geniuses. Luo Feng. "Hi, madman." Among these people, there were many who smiled and greeted Luo Feng. as he had participated in the losers' circle battles. Hence Luo Feng had fought one-on-one with over 200 of them. Windmill. Pate Luo. Luo Feng too greeted a few he was on good terms with. As time passed, more and more geniuses arrived, more and more people arrived. And Savage Rong Jun was considered to have arrived a little later. Finally all 1,000 geniuses had gathered. These 1,000 stood together. Many of them knew each other in real life or from battles, chatting and reminiscing. Luo Feng, your strength has risen quite a bit this year. I know, you've improved a lot. The savage youth Rong Jun gazed at Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned and glanced at the 3M tall savage. When the pinnacle duels begin, you'll know once you try. That confident? Savage's eyes gleamed. Suddenly, rumble. A formless pressure enveloped the entire plaza. The 1,000 absolute geniuses all went pale, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. After which, following the footsteps, a giant dressed in a scale armor and helmet walked over. His natural aura was like that of a death god descending. Carrying with it a thick bloodthirsty aura, it made one feel fear. A giant with a height of over 8 m. It was that being from before. The 1,000 geniuses of the Ganwu Universe country, according to the country leader's orders, I'll be leading them. The giant's voice rumbled. Under the helmet his eyes gave off an immense pressure. You all can call me Lord 13, understand? Understood. The 1,000 absolute geniuses all replied in unison, including Luo Feng. What a terrifying pressure. Luo Feng's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. In real life, his willpower pressure could definitely cause my soul to collapse in an instant. Fear. The 1,000 geniuses, before this scale-armored giant, were as weak as ants. Naturally they would feel fear. This was pure instinct. No matter how strong one's willpower was, there was no way to suppress such instincts. Rong Jun. The scale-armored giant's gaze landed on Savage Rong Jun, Lord 13. Savage Rong Jun bowed. You are the only one from our Ganwu Universe country with a guarantee of not being eliminated. The country leader has high hopes for you. You don't disappoint him, understand? The scale-armored giant said. Yes. Savage replied respectfully. The scale-armored giant swept his gaze across the other youths, saying coldly, as for the others, they have no hope. Immediately, within the group of youths, many clenched their fists. Luo Feng within the group too creased his eyebrows. Don't be unconvinced. Strength isn't just words, it has to be displayed in battle. The scale-armored giant said coldly. Other than Rong Jun, the strongest amongst you all is only at Luo Feng's level. However, according to our intelligence, there are many rare geniuses in this batch. Luo Feng being able to make it into the top 5,000 is already not bad. To make it into the top 1,000, the chances are very slim. Of course, you all can create miracles too. In history, there have been some who were average at the start, but in the end they suddenly exploded in the pinnacle battles, absolute geniuses. The scale-armored giant swept his gaze across the large group, after which he changed the topic. All right, follow me and set off. This group of absolute geniuses from the various starfields of the Ganwu Universe country could only bear with it. After which, Luo Feng and the 1,000 geniuses, under the lead of the scale-armored giant, simultaneously teleported to a brand new plane opened in the virtual universe. This was a vast continent. Luo Feng and the others, including the leader of the scale-armored giant, a total of 1,001 people simultaneously appeared on this continent. Ganwu Universe Country Team, there are 1,008 skyscrapers ahead. Your Universe Country Team has been arranged to stay in skyscraper 0825. A middle-aged man dressed in a white robe respectfully bowed towards the scale-armored giant. HM. The scale-armored giant snorted through his nose, after which he led the team and flew into the distance. What? 1,008 skyscrapers, a Universe Country Team staying in one skyscraper. Looking from afar, the distant 1,008 skyscrapers naturally formed a ring, and in the center of the ring was a beautiful plaza filled with birdsong and fragrant flowers. In that beautiful plaza, there were many youths from various universe countries casually strolling and chatting. With a glance, there were at least 100,000 people. Land. The scale-armored giant's voice rumbled. The Ganwu Universe Country's genius team swiftly landing at the edge of the plaza, following the path and heading towards skyscraper 0825. The plaza had a special pathway to every single skyscraper. Look, that skyscraper 0825 belongs to the Ganwu Universe Country. Looks like it's a genius team from the Ganwu Universe Country. Rongjun, that tall savage is Rongjun, HM. His strength is very strong. Which one is Rongjun? Rongjun? Many geniuses from the other universe countries looked at the Ganwu Universe Country team from afar and began to discuss. Author's note. The second chapter has arrived, continue writing the third. Chapter 429. The entire Ganwu Universe Country genius team heard the distant discussions of the geniuses from the other universe countries. Many of them were filled with hatred within. To be able to make it into the top 1,000 of the Ganwu Universe Country, which of them weren't absolute geniuses, favored by the heavens? And right now it was obvious that the geniuses from the other universe countries only cared about Savage Rongjun, and didn't care about the others. Madman, did you hear that? The other universe countries only know of our Ganwu Universe Country's Rongjun. The green-haired youth walked beside Luo Feng and said softly. This green-haired youth was the absolute genius Windmill who battled with Luo Feng during the elimination back in the same city. Windmill was luckier than Luo Feng in the arena battles. He won 4 battles consecutively and earned his spot. Luo Feng was very calm. Following the team forward, he said softly, Windmill, don't blame the others, Rongjun is indeed strong. HM. The green-haired youth nodded. I know too, I've heard about it. This savage Rongjun's strength is enough to make it into the universe's top 10. And for us to even make it into the universe's top 1,000 is very hard. Overall top 1,000? Luo Feng squinted. At this time, the Ganwu Universe Country Genius team had already followed the scale-armored giant into skyscraper 0825. This skyscraper's first level was very wide, enough to hold up to 1,000 people. Rumble! That powerful pressure appeared once again, pressuring the 1,000 geniuses, causing Luo Feng and the others to turn and look at the largest scale-armored giant. That scale-armored giant retracted his pressure and said coldly, Here, there are numbers 1 to 1,000. You all take your number and enter your rooms. That is where you rest and live. Following which, the scale-armored giant waved his hand. The number plates floated down and landed before each person. Savage Rongjun extended his hand and grabbed the number plate. There was only one number. 1. Luo Feng too extended his hand and grabbed the number plate. There was only one number. 2. The 1,000 geniuses all grabbed their number plate. You are free to disperse. You can sleep and rest in your rooms, or head to the plaza to interact with the geniuses from the other universe countries. The scale-armored giant scanned the 1,000 geniuses, saying coldly, When the sky gets dark, the virtual universe company's organizer will gather all of you. No matter where you are in this space, you'll be able to hear the notification. After saying that, the scaled-armored giant strode out. Only then did the 1,000 geniuses from the Ganwu Universe Country let out a sigh of relief. They split into groups of 3 to 5, each holding their number tags, either chatting or finding their own rooms. The central square surrounded by 1,008 buildings was very large. Even if there were millions of people in the square, it would not be crowded at all. Moreover, flowers, plants, and some ornamental animals could be seen everywhere around the square. There were also large restaurants randomly scattered on the square. There were a total of 99 restaurants. However, the geniuses from the universe countries could enter any of the other restaurants, except restaurant number 1. Boom! The scaled armored giant turned into a stream of light and landed in front of restaurant number 1. "My lord!" The waiter at the entrance of the restaurant bowed respectfully. The scale-armored giant directly walked in. There were more than 1,000 seats on the first floor of the restaurant, and there were already more than 100 great existences here. 13 is here. Their auras were either filled with killing intent, or even more berserk than a star, or so cold that it could freeze one's soul. All sorts of auras that would cause one's heart to palpitate faintly emanated from them. These mighty existences were casually sitting there. It was almost as though they had formed their own world, and the surrounding space seemed to be under their control. The scaled armored giant nodded like a brave god general. He immediately sat down. 13. I heard your Ganwu Universe country has produced a genius called Rongjun? Haha, your luck is not bad. It's alright. The scaled armored giant wasn't humble at all. Te Luo Fu, your universe country has produced a genius called Blood Axe, right? The white-robed man with a face full of smiles that made one feel as though they were facing a spring breeze smiled. Right, there is such a genius. His style is very similar to yours. 13. This time your Ganwu universe country might have 2 geniuses make it into the top 1,000, right? Not far away, a tall and big bald man with golden skin shouted. The other one seems to be a punk called Luo Feng. His strength is still not enough. The scaled armored giant shook his head. Sai Fula, right now everyone is saying that your Noah universe country will get number 1. That youth from Noah universe country is very strong. Just a star level, and his comprehension of the space origin laws has already reached such a level. It's simply unbelievable. A group of great beings discussed. These beings were all sent by the leaders of their respective universe countries. For such a pinnacle gathering of the universe countries, the Undyings they sent were all extremely powerful even amongst the Undyings. Just like 13, he was one of the 18 god generals under the Ganwu universe country leader. His name was awe-inspiring, a being that had been famous for trillions of years. Skyscraper 0825, room number 2. This room was extremely spacious. For example, a bed was 10 m long and 6 m wide. Maybe some genius's body was huge, hence the room was prepared this way. Naturally, this room that was close to 1,000 square meters was still huge to Luo Feng. Let's go out and take a look. Let's see the absolute geniuses from the various universe countries. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with intense anticipation. He had no hope of making it into the top 1,000? That scaled armored giant's words were obviously based on his performance during the loser battles. However, from the end of the loser battles till now, the Masha clansman had been training hard in absolute space. His 3 bodies, the golden horned beast, the Masha clansman and his earth body hadn't relaxed at all. Until now. His own strength had already risen at a shocking rate. Even though he could already defeat Savage Rongjun in the slaughter space simulation. However, from that battle till now, it's already been over 4 years. I can improve so much, others can naturally improve too. These 4 years, how much has Savage Rongjun improved? Who knows? Luo Feng thought. What's more, when he fought me back then, he didn't even have the time to unleash his blade techniques. 1,008 universe countries, geniuses are as common as the clouds. I'll try my best. Let's see how far I, Luo Feng, can go. Luo Feng thought. After waiting patiently for over 4 years, this gathering of the absolute geniuses from the 1,008 universe countries was the time for him to reveal his true strength. Luo Feng walked out of his room and left the skyscraper with the other geniuses from the Ganwu universe country, heading towards the plaza. The plaza was even bigger than a city on Earth. However, these absolute geniuses were all star level 9, with a glance they could see 100 kilometers away. When the group of geniuses from the Ganwu universe country entered the plaza. Look, Rongjun, it's Rongjun. I heard he has the power to make it into the top 10. He's a very strong punk. His comprehension of the Earth and space origin laws are very high. Let's hope we don't meet him. Many of the youths from the other universe countries were discussing. This made the other geniuses from the Ganwu universe country, who were with Savage Rong Jun, feel uncomfortable. Naturally, they dispersed after reaching the plaza. Luo Feng and the green-haired youth Windmill walked together. Luo Feng looked. The green-haired youth pointed at an absolute beauty in the distance, dressed in a white feather robe. That lady was almost like a legendary angel from Earth. On her back were 2 wings and there was a crystal in between her eyebrows. She's called Ai Chin, from the Dream Shell race. She has the power to make it into the top 10. Her nickname is Lightblade. She's extremely terrifying. HM. Luo Feng looked at the seemingly untainted Dream Shell race lady. Lightblade Ai Chin. Luo Feng swept his gaze across the plaza. Before this, he had naturally gathered information. Even though he couldn't gather any detailed information, he knew of the most famous people. It's him. Luo Feng looked at the distant black-robed skinny man that was about 2-3 m tall. He heard people discussing beside him. That's the hypnotist Jia Lai Shi. He's from the Howling God clan, from the Penggu Universe Country Genius Battle. It's said that he didn't even make a move from start to finish, just looking at his opponents once and they all fell into illusions and died. He's an extremely terrifying hypnotist. He can definitely make it into the top 10. Walking in the plaza, he discovered many absolute geniuses from their universe countries that were known as the top geniuses. Even though they were the top in their respective universe countries, within the 1008 universe countries, there were only about 20 that could make it into the top 10. After all, strength was strength. One still had to rely on one's state of mind, etc., and since they hadn't fought before, there was no way to confirm. However, Luo Feng had seen the recordings of the top 20 before. Conclusion: none of them were weaker than Rong Jun. 2 of them were even more terrifying than Rong Jun. Manca Prince. Luo Feng looked at the silver-clothed youth in the distance. His eyes were filled with fervor and fighting spirit. He was also recognized as an absolute genius that could make it into the top 10. It's been a very, very long time since the young generation on Manca Planet hasn't had such an outstanding genius. One genius after another made Luo Feng's fighting spirit burn. Powerful. This was the gathering of the absolute geniuses from the 1008 universe countries. Just from the surface alone, there were about 20 that could match up to Rong Jun. What's more, there might even be some who were hiding their strength. Just like Savage Rong Jun back when he battled Luo Feng, he didn't want to reveal his space origin laws. If he didn't reveal it in that battle, who would know that Rong Jun had such strength? One theory. 1008 universe countries, over 1 million geniuses. There were definitely more than 20 absolute geniuses in the open and in the dark. Just like Luo Feng, he too had the strength to make it into the top 10, yet no one knew that he was an absolute genius hidden in the dark. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Silence. The entire plaza went silent. Hundreds of thousands of geniuses from the universe countries all turned to look in one direction. Luo Feng too turned to look, only to see a white-clothed youth walking out from a distant skyscraper. He was handsome yet expressionless. His entire being was like an ice mountain, carrying a blood-red long blade on his back. Walking towards the plaza, his cold gaze swept across the hundreds of thousands of absolute geniuses. However, there was no ripple. Death God. Death God Bolin. It's him. The undisputed number 1 in the overall rankings. Finally, all sorts of discussions resounded throughout the plaza. At the same time, the black-robed Howling God youth, that absolutely beautiful Dream Shell clan lady, that Manca Prince dressed in battle armor, that savage who seemed like even the heavens couldn't crush him, that huge blood-red axe on his back, that fat man at least 6 m tall squinted his eyes, the green-haired youth with the peculiar green engravings on his face. Everywhere in the plaza, the absolute warriors at the forefront of the million geniuses, all stared at the white-clothed youth with the blood-red long blade on his back. Amongst these warriors, of course, included Luo Feng, Death God. Luo Feng stared at the distant silhouette, muttering, "Death God Bolin?" 3 chapters completed. He discovered that his monthly votes had been left behind. It's the end of the month. I invite all my brothers who support Tomato to check if you have any monthly votes. If you do, please support Tomato. The more monthly votes, the more motivation Tomato has. Click on the recommendation of the author below, and you'll know if you have any monthly vote. Tomato was looking forward to everyone's support. Come, smash the votes. Chapter 430. Death God Prin was the most unbelievable absolute genius from the 1008 universe countries in this year's Genius Battle. Even in the previous Genius Battles, it had been a very, very long time since such a monster had appeared. From the information I've gathered, this Death God Bailan has produced hundreds of images before. This is unbelievable. Luo Feng looked at the distant white-clothed youth with a blood-red long blade on his back. He was very clear within. He was far from being a match for this Death God Bailan, who had long since been recognized as the number one. According to the level of the 10,000 thread flow, the third level, 100 thread, the fourth level, 10,000 thread, was already the highest level of the 10,000 thread technique. The legendary teleportation was after all just a legend, and this Bailan's display of power was obviously close to the fourth level. He was already so powerful at the star level. Just look at the top 10 absolute geniuses from the previous Genius Battles. Almost all of them were stronger than Savage Rongjun. However, they weren't as powerful as this Death God Bailan. He was simply too powerful. Even a sector lord being. Even the hardest space origin laws to comprehend, to reach the fourth level of the 10,000 thread, was 1 in a million. Sector lords were 1 in a million. One could imagine that a mere star-level punk was already so terrifying. No wonder even before the Genius Battles began, many undying beings had already confirmed that this white-clothed youth was without a doubt the number one of the Genius Battles. How did he train? Just how did he train? Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. I've relied on the Masha clansmen to train, and I've only broken through to the 1 thread level. I'm still a long way from the 9 thread level. After all, the space origin laws, those are the 2 most difficult laws to comprehend along with the time origin laws. Big brother. A beautiful young lady with long flowing green hair, naturally curled, with green engravings on her face said softly, "He's the Death God Bailan? The one teacher thinks we have no chance of defeating him?" Beside, a similarly green-haired youth with engravings on his face nodded, staring hard at the distant white-clothed youth. That's him, a star level, yet he's comprehended the space origin laws to such a high level, a monster. Even in the past million years, the number one of the Genius Battles hasn't been this powerful. However, Qianshui. The young man lowered his head to look at the girl beside him. Although we are not Death God Prin's opponent, but the overall 2nd and 3rd place, us siblings must get it. Qianshui understands. The young girl nodded. This pair of brother and sister were the peerless geniuses from the mysterious Augustus planet who were equally famous in this year's Genius Battle. In the vast universe, some planets were very mysterious or extremely famous. For example, Manka Planet, Augustus Planet, Matriarch Planet. These planets all possessed unparalleled strength that made people's hearts tremble. He could easily send out a group of undyings. Such a planet could definitely be called the core of a universe country. The Manka Planet was one of the 2 cores of the Savage Universe country. In the central square, hundreds of thousands of geniuses couldn't help but look at the white-clothed young man. This caused the white-clothed young man to frown slightly, and he directly entered a restaurant. Phew! He is Death God Prin. I really don't know how he cultivated. No matter how powerful his bloodline is, it shouldn't be so abnormal. I suspect that he is not human at all. The sounds of discussion could be heard everywhere in the square. In the central square where hundreds of thousands of geniuses were gathered, within restaurant number 1. As time passed, the leaders of the 1008 universe countries' genius teams, the great undyings, all came to this restaurant number 1. Be it on the first or second floor, they were all casually chatting. This youth called Bolin, he's only a star level, yet his comprehension of the space origin laws is so strong. Who knows, in 100 eras, he might even become a space knight. Space knight? That's too much. Becoming a space knight is still far away. How many undyings have trained for trillions of years and still can't become a space knight? He's still far from it. How can a space knight be so easy to become? Difficult, difficult, difficult. Even his body can teleport through space, and he's still far from it. Much less become a space knight. The flattery is too much. Our 1008 universe countries, it's been so long since a new knight has appeared. Even though that youth is a rarely seen figure in the past genius battles, however, a genius is a genius. If you say he can become a powerful undying comparable to us, I agree. However, to become a space knight, it's simply too. Almost as though the space knight, these 4 words struck a chord in the large group of powerful undyings, all of them objecting. Haha, what are you all discussing? It's so lively. A loud voice resounded throughout the first and second floor of restaurant number 1. Immediately the undyings on the first floor all turned to look, only to see at the entrance of the restaurant a green-robed man dressed very normally, his features handsome, his head covered in purple scales, his eyes filled with a smile. He stood there, almost as though he didn't exist, almost as though he wasn't in the same space and time as the other undyings. Rumble! The hundreds of undyings on the first floor all stood up, including the scale-armored giant 13, all bowing in respect. Knight! The hundreds of undyings bowed. This time, my virtual universe company has organized the genius battles. All of you universe countries have given your support. I represent the virtual universe company to express our gratitude. The green-robed purple-scaled man smiled. This is what we should be doing. From first to second floor, undyings' voices resounded. The green-robed purple-scaled man smiled and nodded. You all continue chatting, in a while I'll gather those youths. Finishing, the green-robed purple-scaled man turned and left. Once he left, the hundreds of undyings on the first floor, as well as the undyings that walked down from the second floor, began to discuss. It's actually the Nine-Blade Knight. I heard he's recently been in a universe secret region within the automaton territory. I didn't expect him to host this genius battle. Speaking of which, hundreds of thousands of eras ago, the Nine-Blade Knight was still a star level. He too participated in the genius battle. At that time, he was the number 1 of that batch. The knight brought shock and awe to all the universe countries back then. He wasn't any weaker than this youth called Bolin. So what if he's talented? Just the path to undying is filled with obstacles. Large numbers of sector lords have fallen at the final door. That Bolin, to even reach undying, he has to go through many trials and tribulations, much less the Space Knight, which is millions of times harder. These undyings were all sighing. All of them had extremely high authority in their respective universe countries. They were all top-notch figures under the command of the universe country leaders. Some planets and stars they could destroy with a flip of their hand. However, if one could become a knight, that would already have the power to occupy a huge starfield and build a universe country. With a wave of the Space Knight's hand, the stars would shift and space would change. The so-called planets were like marbles before them. Evening. Luo Feng, who was drinking in one of the restaurants in the plaza, suddenly a voice invaded his consciousness. All participants from the 1008 universe countries gather in the plaza. Luo Feng subconsciously stood up. Not just him, all the geniuses in the restaurant stood up. The 100, 8000 geniuses, whether they flew in from the sky, or from the skyscrapers, or from the edges of the plaza, they all gathered. Over 1,000,000 geniuses all did the same. In just a moment, the 100,8000 geniuses formed a large team and stood in the plaza. After which, the 1,000,000 geniuses all woke up. What's going on? Luo Feng was shocked awake. What's going on? Why am I here? I was still in my room earlier. The entire team of over 1,000,000 geniuses were all shocked. Even the death god Bolin had a look of shock on his face. And at this time, in front of the formation stood 1,008 undyings. These undyings naturally emitted their pressure. The pressure of over 1,000 powerful undyings instantly caused the entire formation of over 1,000,000 people to quieten down. Not a single one dared to make a sound. Welcome to our virtual universe company's pinnacle genius battle. A warm voice resounded in everyone's ears. Everyone looked over in shock. Suddenly, a man with purple scales on his head and wearing a green battle robe appeared in the empty space in front of him. He had a smile on his face, however, standing in mid-air. He seemed like an ancient god king. That natural aura he emitted made the millions of youths involuntarily submit to him. Also, even though they could see the green-robed man in the distance with their naked eyes, it made the geniuses feel almost as though this great being was in a different space from them. That disordered space and time feeling made them feel very uncomfortable. 1,008 universe countries, every universe country selecting 1,000, a total of over 1,000,000 geniuses. The green-robed man stood in mid-air, gazing down at the millions of geniuses, his voice warm. Our virtual universe company will choose the strongest 1,000 amongst you and absorb them into our virtual universe company's core. The 1,000,000 of you will fight for these 1,000 spots. The rules are as follows. Tomorrow, all of you will enter a training space. Our virtual universe company has prepared over 1,000,000 training spaces for you, one for each person. Within the training space, there are a total of 7 towers. Every training tower has 7 floors. You will start from the first tower after you've passed all 7 levels of the first tower, then the second tower, all the way until you die and are kicked out of the training space. According to your results in the training space, you will be awarded points. First to 100th in points, there's no need for further selection. You will be directly absorbed into our virtual universe company as a core member, obtaining 100 spots. 101st to 7,300th, these 7,200 will fight in the arena to fight for the 900 spots. As for those below 7,300th, they will all be eliminated. The green-robed man's words caused the millions of geniuses below to be stunned. This time there were a total of 100,8000 people, meaning just one training space would eliminate over 1,000,000 people. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 431. That mysterious being representing the virtual universe company left after a simple announcement. Even though Luo Feng and the others were suspicious, they could only return to skyscraper 0825 to rest. Dawn of the second day. Everyone please prepare yourselves, we will begin the mass teleportation soon, sending all participants to their respective training spaces. A clear and melodious voice resounded throughout the entire space. All the geniuses within the 1,008 skyscrapers had long woken up, awaiting the start of the elimination. First elimination, then the final battles. However, in terms of cruelty, obviously the elimination training was more shocking. Good luck! Work hard. In Skyscraper 0825's first-level hall, many of the geniuses from the Ganwu universe country wished each other well. It was too cruel. The first wave had already eliminated over 1,000,000 people. Out of the 1,000 geniuses present, the number still remaining probably didn't exceed 2 hands. Madman, good luck. Windmill, good luck. Luo Feng and the green-haired youth Windmill encouraged each other. Suddenly, rumble. A formless peculiar energy descended upon the entire space, causing all the 100,8000 geniuses to be instantly teleported away. As for the undyings within the space, and the restaurant staff etc., they weren't affected at all. This was a huge, rectangular meteorite with a length of nearly 100 kilometers, suspended in the starry sky of the universe. Shua. Luo Feng appeared on the meteorite, looking around. In the distance there were tiny stars, and not too far away from him were normal planets without life. He couldn't help but exclaim, "The virtual universe has constructed over 1,000,000 training spaces, just one of them can be so realistic." On this meteorite floating in the universe, there were 7 training towers. Every tower was like a huge mountain, with a height of over 10 kilometers and a perimeter of a few kilometers. The 7 trial towers occupied different locations on the giant meteorite. Luo Feng lowered his head to look at his wrist. On it was a screen, just like the Ganwu Universe Country's elimination. Participant: Luo Feng, Ganwu Universe Country, points, 0 rank, none training space, number 0279378. Within the training space, there were a total of 7 towers. Every tower had a total of 7 levels. The first tower, every level could only give a maximum of 10,000 points. Completing all 7 levels would give a maximum of 70,000 points. The second tower, every level could give a maximum of 100,000 points. Completing all 7 levels would give a maximum of 700,000 points. In the fourth trial tower, each floor could give a maximum of 10 million points. Completing all 7 levels would earn a maximum of 70 million points. In the seventh trial tower, each floor could give a maximum of 10 billion points. If he succeeded in all 7 levels, he would get a maximum of 7 billion points. Note: once you die, the trial ends. There were 2 ways to clear each floor. The first was to kill all the targets on this floor and obtain the highest points, which would then teleport you to the next floor. 2. If you are unable to kill all of your targets, you will be teleported to the next floor if you are still alive after 10 days. When all the participants were dead, the trial ended. To determine the final ranking, below is the ranking list. How crazy! Luo Feng looked at the screen and couldn't help but to shake his head. All dead, the trial ends? What does it mean? It means that it is impossible for anyone to pass through all 7 training towers. Clearly, the Tower of Trials was very difficult. The Virtual Universe Company had the confidence to kill all the participants. It's quite similar to the Ganwu Universe Country's elimination. However, this time, it was only in a single world, and it was a world that was separated from the Ganwu Universe Country. And this time, it's a gathering of all the pinnacle geniuses from the 1008 universe countries. The strong are as numerous as the clouds. If you rank below 7,300, you'll be immediately eliminated. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows as he pondered. Very obviously, the first tower should be easier. The further one goes, the harder it gets. This says that there are 2 ways to pass each level. One is to kill all the targets and teleport. The second is to persevere for 10 days. When that happens, it'll automatically teleport. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Doesn't that mean I can stay at most 10 days in each level? A training tower has 7 floors. Then, I can stay at most 70 days in each tower. Luo Feng couldn't help but reveal a look of glee. That's great. This way, the 5 towers will have a year's worth of time. What did he lack the most right now? Time. The golden horned beast broke through to the universe level. Only then did its talent explode. Only then did it begin to comprehend its domain and begin to study the gold origin laws. And the Masha clansman, it was just born in October last year. It hasn't even been a year since it started training. If he had another year, he would definitely be stronger. Right. I'll do it that way. Luo Feng made his decision. I won't rush forward at the start. I'll let the Masha clansman in reality train hard, and let my strength constantly rise. The higher my strength is, Then I'll definitely walk further in the training space when that time comes. Maybe my initial ranking will be very low. However, there's no rush, the most important thing is the final ranking. I'll shock the world with a single feat, Luo Feng laughed. Rumble. Luo Feng became a beam of light and flew to the first tower. That 10 kilometers tall tower had a sign on the entrance pillar. It was the first tower. Luo Feng's spirit weapon and armor were all prepared, and he entered the first tower. The moment he entered, the words on Luo Feng's screen changed. First tower, first level. 10,000 ferocious beasts, hairy blood mammoths. Every time you kill a ferocious beast, you'll get 1 point. Killing all of them will give you 10,000 points, and you'll be teleported to the second level. If you don't kill them all and survive for 10 days, you'll be teleported to the second level. If you die, the training will end. At the edge of the screen, there was a timer counting down. Obviously, the moment the 10 days were up, he would be teleported. Just as I thought. Luo Feng smiled. Then let's begin. In reality, Solar System, Mars. A 10 m long golden horned beast raised its head and let out an excited howl, after which it immediately transformed into many golden horned beast images and continued to study the absolute space technique. As the darling of space, the Masha clansman studying the technique was a form of enjoyment. This feeling was simply too wonderful. Virtual universe, in the center plaza, there were 1,008 undyings, casually sitting around. The training space eliminations weren't broadcasted to the entire universe, only the ranking changes were announced to the public. And only the final arena battles would be broadcasted to the public. However, the undyings from the various universe countries had the authority to view every participant's training situation. This Bolin, he's indeed vicious, rushing to number 1 the moment he arrived. So fast, this Bolin's points rise is shocking. He's far ahead of number 2. 13. Your Ganwu Universe country's Rongjun isn't bad either. He's currently at number 12. The 1,008 powerful undyings could easily see the rankings and watch the training situation. Right now they represented their respective universe countries. Naturally, they all hoped for their own universe country geniuses to shine brightly, only then would they have face. For these existences that had lived for eternity, face and dignity were very important. Not bad. The scale-armored giant nodded, sitting in the wide chair, looking at the screen before him. Rongjun, he immediately opened Rongjun's current training stream. The savage young man was barefooted. His footsteps were strange and shockingly fast. He held a saber in his hand and wantonly cut a 3-eyed lion-like monster that had wings and fur all over its body, the fierce beast Fei Wu. The scale-armored giant's face revealed a rare smile. "HM?" He creased his eyebrows, his killing intent leaking out. This Luo Feng. He actually didn't notice Luo Feng's name at the top of the rankings. From what he felt, this Luo Feng could at least make it to the top 10,000. After which he opened his Ganwu Universe country name list. With a glance he saw Luo Feng's name. Luo Feng, Ganwu Universe country, rank 1006891. This made the scale-armored giant's eyes reveal his killing intent. This little idiot, what is he doing? The scale-armored giant opened Luo Feng's stream. With one look he creased his eyebrows. He's not working hard at all, this punk. He's using the training space as a training ground? Not bad. It wasn't just the golden-horned beast and Masha clansmen that were training, even Luo Feng's main body was constantly absorbing the two's comprehension, infusing it into his own battles, constantly improving and strengthening himself. First building, first level, second level, they all stayed for the full 10 days, all waiting until the end of the countdown before going to kill the last target. And obviously amongst the 1 million geniuses, it wasn't just Luo Feng who did this. There were many geniuses who wanted to use the earlier stages to gain some time and strengthen themselves. Hence, this resulted in Luo Feng not being last. However, it wasn't too far off, he was at the bottom of the 1000th. 60 days later. Rumble. Luo Feng entered the 7th level of the first tower. The 6th level before actually had the Space Beast song. Luo Feng thought back to the previous level, and couldn't help but exclaim. Simultaneously he looked down at the screen on his wrist. First level, 7th level. Bug Clan Mother Nest. Destroying the Bug Clan Mother Nest to obtain 10,000 points, directly teleporting to the first level of the second tower. Bug Clan Mother Nest. In reality, the weakest Bug Clan Mother Nest is comparable to a Sector Lord, with many even comparable to an Undying. The Bug Clan Mother Nests in this tower have their strength reduced by a certain amount to match the training participants. Suggestion: destroy the Bug Clan Mother Nest as soon as possible. The later it is, the more and stronger bugs it will produce. Rumble. This 7th level space immediately changed, becoming a vast desert. In the center of the green patch there was a huge round ball, with a diameter of about 60 m. There were some bumps on it. At the same time it naturally emitted some poison gas. Even the body itself was flowing with poison. Bug Clan Mother Nest? Luo Feng stared. Earth, Earth. Shen Nong Jia. Luo Feng thought of one of the 3 great forbidden areas of Earth, that terrifying mysterious ball in Shen Nong Jia. Even Babata forbade him from touching that thing. Chapter 432. So that's the Bug Clan Mother Nest? Luo Feng was filled with fear within. Yes, fear. The Bug Clan was one of the pinnacle races in the universe that could compare to humanity. It was a very peculiar race. The Bug Clan's population could be said to be terrifyingly high, or even pitifully low. A Bug Clan Mother Nest could produce trillions of bug soldiers. They relied on the human bug sea tactic to dominate the universe. However, on the other hand, the killing bug soldiers had extremely low intelligence, almost to the point of having no intelligence at all, only instinct. Countless bug soldiers, they would definitely obey the Mother Nest's orders. If the Mother Nest sent them to their deaths, not a single one of them would resist. Hence, within the Bug Clan, only the Mother Nest had the right to be considered a life form with true intelligence. Using the Mother Nest as a unit, the Bug Clan's population was pitifully low. And every Mother Nest was at least Sector Lord level, the strongest Undying level. One Mother Nest, producing countless bug soldiers, was enough to take over a galaxy, even a vast starfield. The Mother Nest is on Earth? Luo Feng felt a chill within. Babata, this bastard. Reality, solar system, Mars. The small golden-horned beast suddenly became a stream of energy, swiftly becoming the black-clothed Luo Feng. Babata, what's going on? Luo Feng roared. The golden-horned beast was currently Universe Level 8. It could maintain its consciousness in both reality and virtual universe. What's more, the natural talent clone made it so that even if Luo Feng's main body focused on something, he would still need to focus his consciousness, and the clone would still maintain a basic level of consciousness. What? Babata said unhappily. You're still asking? Let me ask you, what's that mysterious ball in Shen Nong Jia? The black-clothed Luo Feng roared angrily. Luo Feng, I've already told you, don't rush. When it's time for you to know, I'll let you know. Babata said, that thing isn't something you can mess with now. That's the Bug Clan Mother Nest. Luo Feng roared. The moment it awakens, it will be able to continuously produce large amounts of bug soldiers. When that time comes, countless bug soldiers will swiftly take over the entire Milky Way galaxy, and even spread throughout the entire Black Dragon Mountain star field. This is a calamity, a calamity. The moment it awakens, Earth will be finished. Such a huge risk, you actually hid it from me. Luo Feng was indeed furious. Oh my god. The Zerg race's mother nest was on Earth. This was like knowing that there was an atomic bomb under the bed when one was sleeping, and it could explode at any time. You know? Babata was shocked. Humph. Luo Feng suppressed his anger. Speak, what do we do now? The insectoid race was a terrifying existence that stood at the pinnacle of the universe alongside the human race. The existence of any mother nest was a calamity-level existence. Hence, in the virtual universe network, information regarding the Bug Clan mother nest had always been restricted. It definitely wasn't easily released to the public. However, regarding the terror of the Bug Clan, Luo Feng had long known about it. The golden horned beasts inherited memories. Back then the fusion took 16 days. The memories were too vast. Luo Feng only organized them a bit and didn't look at them all. As for the Bug Clan mother nest, Luo Feng had only seen the basics back then. There was no picture of the Zerg mother nest in the introduction. The basic introduction was, the core of the Zerg race is the mother nest. The mother nest is a nest built by the queen mother. The queen's body is weak. She has powerful spirit energy, however her body is weak. Hence she builds a strong mother nest. The mother nest is like her armor. The queen can nurture countless Zerg soldiers. The nest she builds, according to her will, has different shapes and sizes. Back then, when Luo Feng was organizing his inherited memories, he had only briefly looked at the basic introduction. At this time, he was shocked to discover there was a Bug Clan mother nest on Earth. Hence he was shocked to carefully look at it. The basic introduction of the Bug Clan mother nest was only a few words. However, the detailed introduction had tens of millions of words and large amounts of pictures. It described in detail the terrifying aspects of the mother nest, the types of Zerg soldiers it nurtures, etc. There were even large amounts of pictures. This made Luo Feng very quickly confirm. The one on Earth was indeed the Bug Clan mother nest. Don't be angry, don't be anxious. What are you worried about? Don't tell me I'll harm your Earth. Babata said. I know you won't, but I want to know, what's up with this Bug Clan mother nest? Luo Feng communicated mentally. If you don't explain it clearly, I won't be able to rest easy. Who could rest easy? A thing that could destroy Earth or even the entire Milky Way galaxy at any time, who could rest easy? Alright. Babata said helplessly, let me tell you, this Bug Clan mother nest was acquired by your teacher back in the alien battlefield. Teacher? Luo Feng asked. Let me ask you, within this mother nest, is there a queen? The mother nest was just a nest, while the Zerg queen was a true life form. Because the Zerg queen was very weak, any expert could easily destroy her body. Moreover, the cost of building a nest was very high, so it was almost impossible for the Zerg queen to abandon her nest and build a new one. There is. And it's not dead yet, Babata said. Luo Feng's expression changed. However, don't worry, it doesn't pose any threat to Earth now. Babata explained, don't worry, you can think of it as sleeping, and it's an eternal slumber. As for the details, once you've trained Soul Imprint to your teacher's level, you'll understand. There won't be any problems, right? Luo Feng felt that it was a ticking time bomb. There won't be any problems. Unless an undying with a soul level even higher than your teacher comes. Babata smiled. That kind of great being, if he wants to destroy Earth, he can do it with a flip of his hand. He wouldn't go through so much trouble to bring that mother nest back to life. Only then did Luo Feng relax, after which he was curious. What is teacher trying to do with this mother nest and not kill it? The Bug Clan mother nest's potential is huge. If you can enslave this mother nest like how you enslave humans, and then nurture it well, then your teacher will have a very terrifying power. Just that endless Bug Clan army would be enough to save your teacher's life during that time of death. Babata exclaimed. Luo Feng nodded. The Bug Clan mother nest could nurture tens of millions of bug soldiers. The moment one truly controlled a mother nest, that would be very powerful. Against an endless sea of bugs, even an undying would have a headache. If they weren't so powerful, the Bug Clan wouldn't be one of the pinnacle races. Teacher's ambition is huge. Luo Feng couldn't help but say. Babata said helplessly, but the life form of the mother nest is very strange. It is said to be a pure life form, but its soul is divided into every single insectoid warrior. It can control all the thoughts of the insectoid warriors. Your teacher's slave soul imprint is unable to control it. Before we think of a way, we can only let it sleep forever. Hence we threw it on Earth? Luo Feng said. We can't just throw it on Yunmo planet, right? Babata said. Luo Feng was speechless. The genius battle's elimination continued. Over 1 million training spaces, the killing continued. The powerful Bug Clan mother nest, it's been reduced to such a low level. Luo Feng's golden blade immediately sliced open the mother nest. From within flew out a 6 m tall, her entire body white like crystal like a queen. The queen had beautiful transparent butterfly wings, her face was shrouded in mist, it had an extraordinary charm, strange beautiful music resounded, entering everyone's ears. Indeed, the Bug Clan queen that specializes in spirit reading, even her charm is so powerful. At the same time, a sharp spirit energy pierced straight into Luo Feng's consciousness. Rumble. The void pagoda stood tall and unmoving, the spirit energy attack immediately dissipated. Days passed. That beautiful Bug Clan queen thought of many ways to attack Luo Feng, however with her weak body she could only rely on spirit attacks. However, against Luo Feng, who had an incomparably strong consciousness, strong willpower and training in the void pagoda, it was like an ant trying to shake a tree, it couldn't affect him at all. Actually, to be able to kill all the bug soldiers, the queen usually didn't have much of a resistance. The queen's strength was in nurturing an endless amount of different bug soldiers. Countdown 10 days? Luo Feng lowered his head to look at the screen on his wrist. There were still a few minutes until the 10 days were up. He stepped on the dark cloud shuttle, becoming an arc and flying towards the Bug Clan queen that had been hiding in the distance, not daring to mess with Luo Feng. That seemingly weak and pitiful-looking Bug Clan queen looked at Luo Feng with a pair of sad blue eyes. The golden blade pierced through its head. It's still charming. Luo Feng pondered. The first-level Bug Clan mother nest isn't strong. It can barely deal with normal star level 9 warriors. After killing all the opponents in the 7th level of the first tower, he was transported to the 2nd tower. What shocked Luo Feng was, the opponents in the 2nd tower were exactly the same as the first. The only difference was, their strengths had risen greatly. The same ferocious beast hairy blood mammoth. The 2nd tower is so much stronger than the first. Then the 3rd and 4th, how terrifying would they be? There's still the 5th, 6th and 7th after that. No wonder the Virtual Universe Company has the confidence to kill everyone here. Luo Feng was shocked. This training was very difficult. The 7 towers had the same targets and numbers, only the strength was different. The first level was filled with ferocious beasts hairy blood mammoths, a total of 10,000 of them. The 2nd level was filled with demon 9-headed pythons, a total of 10,000 of them. The difference between demon and ferocious beasts was, their intellect was extremely high. Just like the monsters on Earth, they were in truth classified as demon beasts. The 3rd level was filled with metallic life form to Luo clan warriors, a total of 1,000 of them. The 4th level was filled with universe peculiar life form to Wu, a total of 1,000 of them, belonging to a special type of ferocious beast. The 5th level was filled with automaton puppets, a total of 100 of them. The 6th level was filled with the space beast song, a total of 10 of them. The 7th level was filled with the Bug Clan mother nest, a total of 1. The 7 towers were all arranged like this. However, it was obvious. The targets in the 7 towers were constantly rising in power. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 433. The genius battle caused huge waves in every universe country, attracting countless people's attention. And right now the pinnacle battle between the geniuses from the 1008 universe countries, it naturally caused countless people to anxiously look forward to it. However, right now, the training elimination wasn't broadcasted to the public, only the rankings were broadcasted. Rong Jun is too cool. Look, on the Virtual Universe Company's official website, they've released yet another promotional video of Savage Rong Jun. On a street in the Ganwu continent of the Virtual Universe, a young couple was pointing at the screen. The girl said excitedly, the boy beside her laughed. The rankings are constantly changing, however, for those that make it into the top 1,000. The Virtual Universe Company will produce a promotional video for them. However, this time, only Rong Jun from our Ganwu Universe country has this honor. Didn't we have Luo Feng before? You didn't see the rankings, he's already at the bottom. The boy shook his head. Many big figures. Didn't they say Madman Luo Feng was very strong? Why is his ranking so low? The girl asked curiously. No idea. The boy shook his head and sighed. It's quite disappointing. I worshipped him before. I always felt he was more vicious than Savage Rong Jun. However, now, the entire Ganwu Universe countries, over 100 million galaxies, countless people were discussing the genius battle rankings, many of them expressing their disappointment with Luo Feng. Because before, the Ganwu Universe country had already formed a consensus that amongst their own universe country geniuses, Rong Jun was number 1, Luo Feng was number 2. The main focus this time was on these two. However, now, Rong Jun was intrepid. Luo Feng? He was at the bottom. The other 10,000 star fields of the Ganwu Universe country, if their feelings towards Luo Feng were still considered warm, then the Black Dragon Mountain starfield had gone mad. Madman! You've really gone mad. How can you be so weak? It shouldn't be this weak. What a disappointment! Madman, the madman I love, the madman I worship, where is he? How can you be last? I don't ask you to rush to the front, you have to rush to the top 10,000. Madman, madman! You disappoint me too much. In the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, countless people who were proud of Luo Feng were incomparably excited. There were even some that were angry and scolding Luo Feng, hating him for not living up to expectations. The rankings are constantly changing, it'll only be revealed at the end. Luo Feng might even show off later. Previously in the first world, he also showed his strength in the later stages. Everyone has to believe in lunatics. We will always support the lunatics. The other was extreme anger due to love. The other was to firmly support and still believe in Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng, who represented the Black Dragon Mountain Empire on the pinnacle stage of the 1008 universe countries to battle, was indeed a cause for concern for countless people in the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Virtual Universe, within the plaza surrounded by 1008 skyscrapers. 1008 great undyings were all sitting together, looking at the floating screens around them, laughing and chatting. There really are many geniuses hiding their strength during the universe country selection. Surprise! A group of powerful undyings were commenting on some of the geniuses with shocking performances. Because the top 100 of this trial would directly obtain a spot, many true experts who had been hiding their strength erupted, each of them using their full strength, causing these undyings to be shocked. This young ape-man is really nimble. He's very used to fighting one against many. Yes. Beside, the scale-armored giant's voice rumbled. The training space is after all just a training space, it's not a 1v1 duel. And arranged within, there are metal life forms, automaton puppets, these are all immune to soul attacks. Those that specialize in soul attacks are at a disadvantage. 1v1, human duels. Compared to the training towers, the chosen ones would be slightly different. 13. What you say makes sense. Beside, the silver-robed, silver-haired man said, however, the true geniuses will still perform very well. And I feel that the training space's setup is very good, because in the future, their enemies will mainly be the other races of the universe. The scale-armored giant nodded, looking at the rankings on the screen beside him. On it were the rankings of the Ganwu Universe country's 1,000 geniuses. Rong Jun is rank 16, not bad. This Luo Feng. The scaled armored giant was a bit angry. He really thinks of the trial space as a training ground. Every level requires him to last 10 days before moving on to the next level. This brat really doesn't care about the scolding outside at all. As he paid attention to Luo Feng, he could easily discover that Luo Feng was indeed using up the most time. Eliminated? The scale-armored giant discovered that behind 2 more geniuses on the list, there was a red universe language. Eliminated. Another 2 dead. At this time, there were already hundreds of thousands of eliminated geniuses in the plaza. Schwa, 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 schwa. In just a few seconds, 10 silhouettes were simultaneously transported to the plaza. Windmill, you've been eliminated too? Brass, you were even earlier than me. The green-haired youth Windmill laughed as he teased. I never thought I'd be able to make it into the top 7,300. Beside, a handsome youth with slightly curly hair, dressed in a silver armor, shook his head. The moment I entered the training space, I used my fastest speed to kill level by level, hoping to raise my ranking. It was exactly as I thought. At the start I killed quickly, my name rose quickly, the highest I got was over 100,000. However, after the 3rd tower was too difficult, my speed slowed down by a lot, my ranking dropped rapidly. All of a sudden, I dropped below 300,000. Finally I died in the 3rd tower's 5th level, killed by the automaton golem sitting on my butt. What a tragedy. Sitting on your butt to death? Windmill laughed loudly. Which level did you get to? The handsome youth asked. 3rd tower's 7th level. Windmill couldn't help but curse. The Bug Clan mother nest was too strong, 1 bug soldier after another was being nurtured. It was much faster than the previous 2 towers, and its strength was even stronger. The speed I killed couldn't keep up with its nurturing speed. I watched as more and more bug soldiers appeared, before I was buried alive. Haha! The handsome youth couldn't help but laugh. Oh right, I just checked the rankings. That madman from our universe country, the one you're close with, why is his rank so low? Low? Windmill glanced around. Do you see? Right now there are already hundreds of thousands of geniuses that have been eliminated. As long as this madman is still in the training space, his name will rise. Just watch. I know this punk the best. The last time in the Ganwu Universe country's first world elimination, this punk didn't even show his face for the first 10 days, after which he went on a killing spree. I think it'll be the same this time. So sinister? The handsome youth stared. This is called steady. His feet are on the ground. Windmill ridiculed. Unlike you, who charged forward and was eliminated after reaching the 5th floor of the 3rd tower. 7 training towers. 100,8000 geniuses. They passed the 1st and 2nd towers, however from the 3rd tower's 1st level onwards, large amounts of geniuses were eliminated. The 3rd tower had the most eliminated people. It was close to 90% of the total. Luo Feng, right, just like that, a lower rank. The 9th Prince Buluolin was currently in his palace on the Black Dragon Mountain Island, comfortably lying in his chair, looking at the floating screen in front of him. On the screen was a discussion forum. Buluolin was looking at the large amount of people scolding Luo Feng for being disappointing. Awesome, awesome. Brolin was all smiles. Luo Feng, even though I don't want to mess with you, I don't want you to be too strong either. Right now, this ranking is just right, it suits you the best. Brolin could comfortably continue living the life of a prince. After all, the royal family's backing was the founding emperor, an undying being. Luo Feng couldn't possibly find trouble with him. However, Nulan Shan was different. Right now, Luo Feng could easily ask for help to deal with Nulan Shan. Hence, when Luo Feng made a name for himself in the genius battle, the extremely cautious Nulan Shan had long ago been scared out of his family's headquarters, arriving in another distant Kalma star field, a normal life planet with a harsher environment, living in seclusion. Good! Good! After finishing his training, Newland Shan flew back to his simple villa, his pair of cold eyes looking at the constantly changing rankings on the living room screen connected to the quantum computer. He couldn't help but laugh coldly. Forcing me to leave my family, this time you little punk should really take a tumble. Last place? Awesome. No matter how chaotic the outside world was, cursing, questioning and cheering, Luo Feng was still as stable as MT Tai. Every level took a full 10 days, slowly advancing level by level. Second tower's 7 levels, all passed. Third tower's 7 levels, all passed. Fourth tower's 7 levels. Maybe before the Masha clansman was born, Luo Feng wouldn't have been able to pass. However now, he still took one step at a time, steadily passing through the 7 levels. Virtual universe in the plaza. To the undying with eternal life, staying here for a year was a very casual thing, and such a gathering wasn't something they could just leave their post. The 1008 undying were discussing. 13. Your universe country's Luo Feng's rank has risen again. Look at this broadcast. This punk hasn't been rushing or slow at all, and every level doesn't seem to be taxing at all. Look, he's made it into the top 500. The scale-armored giant sat in a huge chair, looking at the screen before him. The ranking on the screen was very peculiar. The Ganwu Universe country's number 1 genius was Rong Jun. His current rank was 13. However, Rong Jun had already died in battle and was kicked out of the training space. This Rong Jun has long made it to the 5th tower. When he died, this Luo Feng was still slowly making his way through the first level of the 4th tower. The scale-armored giant didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He still clearly remembered the joke he made a while ago. Back then he said, Luo Feng is low profile and slow, just watch, towards the end, he'll rise to about 3,000 to 5,000. The scale-armored giant said to the other undying back then. However, later on, Luo Feng's name steadily rose, and now it had already made it to the top 500. 5th Tower. Luo Feng has entered the 5th tower. 1 SD level success. Rank 128. 3 RD level success. Rank 42. As time passed, the scale-armored giant creased his eyebrows. Under the helmet his eyes were filled with death energy as he stared at the screen, saying softly, This Luo Feng, he really hides his strength really deeply. However, I like these surprises. His eyes were filled with a sense of glee. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Tomorrow is Saturday, hence, hee. Chapter 434. The scale-armored giant's right hand's fingers gently tapped on the armrest, looking at Luo Feng's battle broadcast on the screen, saying softly, His technique is the 10,000 threads, and it's quite high. During the universe country selection, he didn't even reveal a hint of the space origin laws, and now, he's actually able to use the 10,000 threads to such a level. This Luo Feng, he's hidden it well. The scale-armored giant's lips curled up, giving off a special feeling. The 10,000 threads technique, even though it's been spread far and wide, it's only spread amongst the undyings. This Luo Feng actually knows this technique. Looks like his background isn't simple. Interesting, really interesting. I wonder which undying or sector lord from our Ganwu universe country nurtured such an exceptional disciple. The scale-armored giant was very clear. The virtual universe selection tests, like the Nanshin armament and Dark Cloud shuttle etc., were all freely chosen by the participants. However, the training techniques were all unique to each participant. In reality, to be able to obtain the 10,000 threads technique in the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, those with the qualifications to do so didn't exceed 100. The undyings from the various universe countries were still calm. The many genius participants that had died long ago and were kicked out of the training space were however excited and jealous. Luo Kashio, your Ganwu universe country really has many geniuses. That savage Rong Jun's overall rank is 13. As for Madman Luo Feng, no one noticed him at first, but now he's already made it to rank 42. No matter what, the two of them will definitely be able to enter the virtual universe core. Madman is a pretty vicious person in our Ganwu universe country. I heard that during the elimination, he wasn't anxious at all at first, before exploding violently. Over 1 million participants looked at the screen in the plaza. Right now there were only 4 screens, because there were only 4 people still in the training space. The Virtual Universe Company's official website produced a new promotional video, this year's Genius Battle. Up till today, there are still 4 people who haven't died in the training space. They are Death God Bolin from Noah Universe Country, Blood Blade Candida from Nine Flames Universe Country, Life Blade Yifeng from the Ancient Luan Universe Country, Madman Luofeng from the Ganwu Universe Country, Death God Bolin, eternally clad in white, eternally wielding a bloody sword. He had been in the lead since the beginning of this year's competition of geniuses. However, from the second tower onwards, his speed slowed down and became very slow. He had once been surpassed by others, but now he was number 1 in the overall ranking. It's much, much higher than the overall second place. Blood Edge Candida, this tall and sturdy barbaric youth. He looks like a fighter, but he's actually a powerful spirit reader controller. He uses one of the controller's 9 godly weapons, the Blood Edge godly weapon. At the beginning of the trial space, he was at the bottom, but as time passed, he continued to advance towards the higher levels of the trial space. His current rank is 43. He's long since obtained the qualifications to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company. The Sword of Life, Yifeng. This is a skinny little guy, but he's an amazing martial artist. His swordplay was the epitome of the brilliance of life. His face always carried a trace of bashfulness. He had been at the bottom of the trial space from the very beginning, but now he had rushed to a very high position. He was ranked 45th overall. Similarly, he's obtained the qualifications to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company. Madman Luofeng, similar to Candida and Yifeng, he was at the bottom from the beginning. However, he's still improved to a shocking level. However, the difference between him and the 2 before him is Madman Luofeng's killing and battle style. It brings with it a heart-palpitating killing intent. His eyes are ice-cold and filled with a bloodthirsty madness. He's indeed a madman. And right now he's ranked 42nd overall. Similarly, he's obtained the qualifications to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company. This year's Genius Battle, compared to all the previous geniuses in history, is definitely one of the best. In the training space, the absolute geniuses have all revealed their brilliance, surprising us. Right now, only these 4 absolute geniuses are left. The day they are kicked out of the training space will be the day the training ends. Please let us give our blessings. We wish these 4 absolute geniuses will bring us even more surprises. The newest promotional video had a total of 5 parts. One of them was introducing these 4 at the same time, and the other 4 were separate videos for each of them. The entire human territory of the universe, 1,008 universe countries, trillions of galaxies, millions of human races, countless universe humans were anxiously waiting. Luofeng. 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 The Ganwu universe country was in an uproar. The Black Dragon Mountain Empire went even crazier. Madman Luofeng, Madman Luofeng. On the Black Dragon Mountain Islands, it was common to see many people in front of screens on the streets, holding wine bottles and shouting excitedly, all of them cheering for Luofeng. He's from our Black Dragon Mountain Empire. He's from our Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Luofeng. He's our Black Dragon Mountain Empire, the pinnacle genius in 1 trillion years. He will definitely become an absolute warrior in the universe. I believe, I will always believe. Before, there were many people in the Black Dragon Mountain Empire who were disappointed. However, as Luofeng's ranking continued to rise, many of them were stunned. As Luo Feng's ranking continued to rise, rushing into the top 10,000, into the top 5,000, into the top 1,000, into the top 500, into the top 100, this sort of direct rise, finally igniting the passion of the trillions of people in the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. My God, in the vast human territory of the universe, a Black Dragon Mountain starfield was indeed a small dot, very unremarkable. Who would have thought that their Black Dragon Mountain starfield would actually produce a person that could dominate the battlefield of the pinnacle geniuses? Madness. The entire empire had gone mad. Especially when Luo Feng was confirmed to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company, even the Black Dragon Mountain Emperor held a huge celebration for him. That was one of the 5 great leviathans of humanity, the Virtual Universe Company's core. In terms of position, it was thousands to tens of thousands of times higher than the imperial family of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Luo Feng. Madman Luo Feng. Charge. Charge to the top 10, charge to number 1. The citizens of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire were all fired up, especially the countless youths that had fallen into a blind worship of Luo Feng. And at this moment, Luo Feng was the idol of the entire empire. Within the specially opened space for the genius battle, in the plaza, over 1 million geniuses from the 1008 universe countries were staring at the leftmost screen in mid-air. Even the powerful Undyings seated in their thrones were looking at that screen. Chi. When that blood-red silhouette flashed past the Bug Clan Queen's weak body, the entire plaza let out stifled cries of shock. My God! This death god Bolin has passed the 6th tower. It's simply too crazy. Right now, the 2nd to 6th place all died in the first level of the 6th tower. And this death god Bolin actually reached all 7 levels, completely passing the entire 6th tower. His points have left everyone else far behind. Too strong. Looking at the white-robed blood-red sword silhouette on the screen, all the geniuses felt a sense of awe and respect. If the other geniuses were able to accept it, then this death god Bolin had completely exceeded the imaginations of the geniuses from the various universe countries. Death god Bolin was so strong that it made people feel despair. Training space. On a meteorite in the universe space, there were 7 towers, and the 5th tower was the 4th level. Phew. 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 Standing on the dark cloud shuttle, he was as fast as lightning, drawing a strange arc that twisted and turned 12 times, directly escaping from the attacks of the fierce wyverns, leaving behind 4 images in mid-air. Luo Feng realized that the screen on his wrist had changed. He couldn't help but look down, as the rankings showed that there were only 4 people still passing the levels. The moment the screen changed, it meant that there was a new change. Number 1 Bolin, Noah Universe Country, points 7777770000 No Tugusi Luo, Eam Universe Country, points 16829700000. The screen showed the top 100, within it included the 4 people Luo Feng paid attention to. Bolin, Yi Feng, Candida and himself. This death god Bolin? Luo Feng's expression changed. He actually passed the entire 6th tower. From the points, one could tell. 2nd to 6th place, they all died in the first level of the 6th tower. Every tower had 7 levels, the highest points were the same. Hence, even though the difficulty of the 7 levels was increasing, it wasn't by much. The true increase in difficulty was in the new tower. Just like the first level of the 6th tower, the points were 10 times that of the 7th level of the 5th tower. With such a huge increase in points, the difficulty obviously rose a lot too. Hence, 2nd to 6th place all died in the first level of the 6th tower. If one could successfully pass the first level, it meant that the 2nd and 3rd levels had higher hope. I wonder if he can pass the first level of the 7th tower. Luo Feng thought, if he can even pass this, that's too terrifying. In an instant, over 1,000,000 human geniuses and 1,008 undyings in the plaza, even other undyings were watching the broadcast. Undyings had the authority to watch the broadcast. He passed the 7th level of the 6th tower. It seems to be rather easy. However, the difficulty of each and every one of them will suddenly soar. The 7th tower's 1st level, compared to the 6th tower's 7th level, is many times harder. I wonder if he'll pass it. Countless people were watching. The previous 6 towers only gave a total of 7 billion points, and now the 7th tower, just the 1st level alone, gave 10 billion points. The higher the points meant the higher the difficulty. Too terrifying. The 7th tower's hairy blood mammoths, they're actually this strong. 10,000 hairy blood mammoths. I think every one of them has the strength of the top 100. The spectating geniuses were all shocked. The 7th tower's difficulty was simply heaven-defying. The 1st level's 10,000 hairy blood mammoths, all of their attacks were infused with origin laws. Their power was terrifying. He's injured. Bolin is injured. Death God Bolin, this was the first time he was injured. He exploded. Consecutively passing the 6th tower, the death god Bolin, who had always been relaxed, finally exploded with his true terrifying power. Even the Virtual Universe Company, even the other 4 Leviathans, many powerful beings that could shake the entire universe, were watching this battle, because the 7th tower's difficulty setting, in theory, star levels definitely had no way of passing it. Now it all depended on this death god Bolin's performance. P.S. Chapter 1 has arrived. Chapter 435. In the 1st tower, the blood-haired mammoths were easily defeated. They were extremely weak. But as the 2nd trial tower, the 3rd trial tower, the combat strength of the blood-haired mammoths jumped to new levels. When they reached the 7th tower, any one of the 10,000 blood-haired mammoths could kill 99% of the geniuses out of the 1,000,000 geniuses. When 10,000 of them attacked together, it was truly a nightmare. Heavens, they are all illusions! The Grim Reaper Bolin is going crazy. On the screen, under the attacks of the berserk blood-haired mammoths, countless figures of white-robed youths appeared. Each of them was incomparably real, and the surrounding area was filled with a green air current. Within the green air current, there were thousands of white-robed youths. It was as though the area had become the absolute domain of the Grim Reaper Bolin. He could attack from any direction. The sword light was biting cold. Every sword seemed to cut through space itself. It was as fast as lightning. Every sword was so fast that the geniuses present couldn't even see it with their naked eyes. It was as strange as the wind. Every sword's trajectory was impossible to predict. It was as though there was no pattern to it. Pooh! 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 Every sword pierced through the head of the blood-haired mammoths, causing blood to splatter everywhere. One by one, the blood-haired mammoths that were ranked in the top 100 were killed. The other blood-haired mammoths became even more frenzied and effective in their attack. Their thick hooves stomped on the Grim Reaper Bolin again and again. Precise. Incomparably precise. One by one, the blood-haired mammoths collapsed. This was the Grim Reaper Bolin. Every time he attacked, he would kill. Poochie. A blood-haired mammoth's tusks pierced into the Grim Reaper Bolin's arm. Blood splattered everywhere, and at the same time, all the illusions disappeared. Humph! The white-robed youth's eyes flashed, and the blood sword pierced through the head of the blood-haired mammoth in front of him. Hong Long Long, the other blood-haired mammoths surrounded and trampled over him. After suffering 3 consecutive heavy injuries, the white-robed youth was finally sent flying and was trampled to death by a large number of blood-haired mammoths. Of the 10,000 blood-haired mammoths, the Grim Reaper Bolin had killed 5,612. Just the 1st level of the 7th tower alone had given him 5,612 points, causing his total points to exceed 10 billion. However, he still failed. He failed on the 1st level of the 7th tower. Who? The millions of geniuses and experts gathered in the central square all let out a long breath. The battle scene of the Grim Reaper Bolin had completely suffocated them. The Grim Reaper Bolin's sword was too fast. The strangeness of the sword, the fierceness of the sword, coupled with his unbelievably exquisite movement technique, all the geniuses could only look up to him. It failed. What a pity! The seventh training tower is too difficult. If it wasn't Grim Reaper Bolin, anyone else would have been instantly trampled to death by the surging blood-haired mammoths. To be able to kill over 5,000 blood-haired mammoths, doesn't that mean that he alone can kill over 5,000 experts ranked in the top 100? Even though Death God Bolin had failed, the geniuses that made it into the top 100 and were guaranteed to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company felt their hearts go cold. The genius siblings from the mysterious Ao Sea planet, the Manka Prince, the Dream Shell Clan Genius Lady, the savage youth Rong Jun, these people were all staring at the screen. Too strong. The savage youth Rong Jun clenched his fist, staring at the screen. No matter what, he's far stronger than me. Exchanging blows with him, one move, I can't even take one. Brother, no wonder teacher said we have no chance of beating him. He's too strong. The green curly-haired lady with engravings on her face said softly. Beside her, the green-haired youth nodded. Right, Qianshui, I feel, I can't even take one move from him, I can't block it at all. The Grim Reaper Bolin's strength was so strong that people could only look up to him. Rank 2 to 6 were all at the first level of the 6th tower, rank 7 to 11 were at the 7th level of the 5th tower, rank 12 to 21 were at the 6th level of the 5th tower and rank 1 was at the 1st level of the 7th tower. From the results, one could see that after rank 2, there wasn't much of a difference between them, they were all very close. Only rank 1. The gap between them and the people behind them was an entire tower. This difference was too great. Grim Reaper Bolin was kicked out of the training space. Right now there were only 3 people left in the training space. Blood Edge Candida, Blade of Life Yi Feng and Madman Luo Feng. 5th Tower, 5th level. Stepping on the whirlwind edge, the bald brute with 2 purple stripes on his face, Candida's pupils shrunk as he looked at the scene in front of him. This was a large-scale mechanical laboratory. The ground was completely made of alloy. At the same time, on the alloy ground of the laboratory stood 108 m tall silver humanoid mechanical puppets. Automatons were a type of battle weapon created by the automaton race. Every single automaton was a living AI, every single one of them could be considered a control terminal, every single one of them could form an automaton kingdom. And the automatons were one of the battle weapons of this automaton kingdom. 1. The 100 tall automatons activated, their eyes emitting red light, immediately locking onto the distant human. Candida. Bang. 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 The automatons immediately sprinted like lightning, some of them even flew in mid-air, all of them swiftly pouncing towards Candida. Their speed is obviously much crazier than the automatons in the 4th tower. Candida stepped on the whirlwind edge, arcing through the air in an arc, dodging the automatons' direct attack. The best way to defeat the automatons was to kill them one by one. Fighting them head-on would simply be too crazy. Shio! 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 Beams of formless railguns shot out from the automaton arms launchers. Railguns had many different sizes, the highest speed of railguns could reach light speed, however these railguns were very expensive, even in the automaton kingdom, only the most important soldiers were equipped with light-speed long-range weapons. And these automatons, the long-range attacks they fired, were far from light speed. I hate these long-range attacks the most. Candida gritted his teeth. As time passed, the battle got more and more intense. Candida was injured, and the automatons too had their chests pierced through, their control chips destroyed. Rumble. The automaton's iron fists smashed down. Candida barely dodged, causing the iron fists to land on the ground, forming a huge crater. Iron fist, leg blades, railguns, flames, body charges. These huge automatons weren't afraid of any spiritual attacks. To destroy them, one could only use physical attacks. Purring! The heavily injured Candida, facing the incoming iron fists, finally couldn't dodge in time, and was smashed into the ground, turning into meat paste. Candida, 5th tower, 5th level, failure. Final rank 28. The same 5th tower, 5th level. Big fella, come. A handsome purple-haired youth moved like a ghost. He was like a gust of wind as he floated among the large mechanical golems. The mechanical golems of the 5th tower had very high reaction speed, movement speed, attack power, and so on. To dare to move amongst these automatons, it was simply too heaven-defying. He was the sword of life, Yifeng. This shy youth's eyes were pure, filled with joy, as though he was dancing between life and death. It didn't make him nervous at all. Poochie! Sword beams filled with endless life force flashed time after time, either piercing the automaton's joints, or piercing into their vitals. He smiled happily as he executed every move dazzling. He, Yifeng, was born in the ancient Luan universe country's imperial family. Over 1 trillion years, the imperial family of the universe country had grown to uncountable numbers. The identity of the imperial family wouldn't give them much. If they wanted wealth and status, they had to rely on themselves. However, since he was young, he had a problem with his brain, causing his lower body to not listen to him. Only his upper body was normal. No matter how advanced technology was, to be able to change one's bloodline, to be able to change the organs, etc. However, the brain was where the soul was stored. The brain couldn't be changed. Once it was changed, it would be a completely different person. As for possession, he didn't have the ability to do so, and there was no one to help him either. Ever since he was a child, he had been sitting in a wheelchair, watching the other young children of the royal family being trained together. He couldn't help but obtain a set of the most basic secret cultivation method of the royal family. According to others, perhaps through the cultivation method, the body would automatically improve, and perhaps this disease could be cured. He trained, since he couldn't control his lower body, then he used his hands. Time and time again, he used the sword. The sword contained his desire, his understanding of life. His sword techniques continued to rise, actually reaching an unbelievable level, even gaining the attention of the upper echelons of the imperial family, who immediately sent an undying to help him, finally allowing him to stand up and control his lower body. He stood up. After being paralyzed for 10 years, he loved the feeling of flying. Time and time again, he executed his techniques, waving his sword. He laughed happily. His sword techniques allowed him to enter the wood origin laws. His movements allowed him to enter the wind origin laws. Stepping into the threshold of 2 great origin laws had caused his status in the imperial family to rise to an extremely high level. Although his status was high, he was still that bashful youth. In his heart, there was only the love for life, the love for the wind, that came from running the sword of life. Yifeng destroyed 100 mechanical golems and successfully passed the 5th level of the 5th tower. He then proceeded to the 6th level. However, the 6th level had 10 space beasts song. Their agility was much stronger than the automatons, and they were all Tsang that had stepped into the origin laws. Yifeng, after killing 3 Tsang, was defeated. This shy youth stopped at the 6th level of the 5th tower, rank 16. At this time, after Blood Edge Candida and Blade of Life Yifeng were kicked out of the training space, there was only one person left. Madman Luo Feng. P.S. The 2nd chapter has arrived, I'll update a little later, continue to the 3rd chapter. Chapter 436. The 6th level of the 5th tower. This was a boundless wasteland. On the wasteland, there were 10 gigantic dark golden creatures that were either lying or patrolling. They were the giant star beast, Song. The target of the 6th level, the space beast, Song. Luo Feng looked at the 10 space beasts. From his inherited memories, he had long known the details of Tsang. Accurately speaking, Tsang and the golden horned beast had a special relationship. Within the gold attribute space beasts, the number 1 was naturally one of the 12 pinnacle bloodlines of the space beasts, the golden horned beast, and the number 2 was Tsang. Even though it was just the difference between number 1 and 2, the difference in battle strength was huge. When the golden horned beast matured to its peak, it was a sector lord. When Tsang matured to its peak, it was a domain lord. It was considered one of the more powerful space beasts. Of course, it couldn't compare to the 12 pinnacle bloodlines of the space beast. However, Tsang too had its own natural abilities. As the favored children of the gold origin laws, they were savage and possessed shocking battle strength. Even though they didn't have wings, they were born with the ability to fly. Space beasts, all of them could fly. In terms of battle strength, on average, they were even stronger than the pinnacle bloodlines of humanity. The 10 giant starry sky beasts in front of him were about 300 meters long, and their tails were almost as long as their bodies. Their entire bodies were covered in dark golden scales, and there were sharp protrusions on their backs. Their heads were very big, and their wide bloody mouths were even more terrifying. The biting force of their teeth was incomparably shocking. Their heads were bald, and under the scales, their huge eyes were triangular, filled with coldness and bloodthirst. Chi! The 10 space beasts all turned to look at the tiny human before them. Luo Feng. Interesting. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with even more chilling killing intent. When Tsang met the golden horned beast, what would happen? Right now, Tsang met the human form golden horned beast Luo Feng. Rumble! Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and immediately became a beam of light. Immediately the 10 huge space beasts Tsang all became beams of light and chased after him. However, after 5 years of training, Luo Feng's speed on the dark cloud shuttle was much faster than when he fought Rong Jun back then. And it was peculiar and agile. Shwa, 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 shwa. 8 Luo Fengs appeared in mid-air. The 10 giant starry sky beasts blinked their eyes, as if they were at a loss as to which one they should chase. In an instant, they split up and went after the target separately. What an arrogant fellow! Luo Feng's body froze. Simultaneously 5 golden lights appeared around him. It was 5 golden blades, immediately shooting towards the space beast Tsang closest to him. That Tsang's reaction was extremely fast, waving its powerful claws. Puff, 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 puff. Out of the 5 golden illusory swords, 2 of them collided with the hoof's claws, while the 3rd golden illusory sword was shattered by its tail. Chi! However, the 4th golden illusory sword pierced through its throat and into its brain, killing it on the spot. Different from the golden horned beast, as a middle-tier space beast, Tsang didn't have an internal world, hence it naturally didn't have an inner core. Its life force was similar to most flesh and blood life forms. Before reaching the domain lord level, the soul was in the brain. Bang! Bang! After the death of one Tsang, the other 9 highly intelligent Tsang immediately understood that the enemy wasn't to be messed with. They immediately banded together and didn't split up. It's no use, at most I'll just waste some time. Luo Feng was very clear. Even though the space beasts were extremely strong, fast, terrifyingly strong and talented, same level or even higher level humans wouldn't dare to clash head-on with them. The only weakness of the space beasts was, their bodies were too huge. Their huge bodies made it very troublesome against smaller opponents like humans. Hence Luo Feng trained hard in absolute space and deities of the world. Deities of the world had the use of shrinking one's body, absolute space had the use of increasing one's agility, instantaneous explosion, raising one's movement, etc. Being able to unleash 8 images, along with his familiarity with the weaknesses of the Tsang, even though Luo Feng spent 10 days in this battle, it was still a clean win. The main thing was the final Tsang. Luo Feng waited till the last half hour before making his move to kill it. 5th Tower, 7th level. Space blurred and Luo Feng entered the 7th level. The 7th level is much more troublesome than the 6th. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. As a spirit reader controller against a group attack, he had a huge advantage over a fighter, as he could swiftly dodge and dodge, using movement to put himself in an advantageous position. However, when the number of enemies was terrifying, anyone would have a headache. This was a boundless desert. In the distant green patch of the desert, there was a round ball with a diameter of 120 m and its surface filled with potholes. On its surface flowed some poison liquid, giving off a poisonous aura. 120 meters was equivalent to the height of a 40-story building. In other words, the surface of the huge nest that was about 40 stories tall was filled with potholes. Suddenly, green, triangular-headed insectoids covered in a green carapace that was stained with some mucus and had 2 antennae. They had large compound eyes and a muscular body. Their 2 hind limbs supported their bodies while their 4 front limbs were like blade. They also had 2 translucent wings on their back. The 40-story tall mother nest, every pothole was about 1 m in diameter. Almost in an instant, 1,000 bug clan appeared on the surface of the mother nest. Who? After 3 rounds, about 3,000 bug clan members appeared. All of them were green centipede. Green grasshopper was one of the most common cannon fodder of the insect race's combat-type insect race. Although it was called cannon fodder, it was the cannon fodder that appeared in the foreign battlefield. Fortunately, the strength of the entire insect race's mother nest had been adjusted. Otherwise, the true mother nest of the insect race could give birth to many different types. In terms of function, they could be categorized into detection, assassination, long-range attack, siege, and so on. From their structure they could be split even more. 3,000 green centipedes. Luo Feng looked at the sky and land-covered green centipedes that flew over, creasing his eyebrows. The mother nest has sent out all its stock at once. The next batch should be in 20 minutes. The mother nest required time to nurture the bug clan. These 3,000 were prepared long ago. Of course, the mother nest's nurturing ability in reality wouldn't be so weak. Otherwise, how could it easily take over a galaxy or even a starfield? Kill! Luo Feng's gaze was cold. He immediately became 8 images, maintaining his highest speed as he began a terrifying massacre, immediately releasing the 9 golden blades that he could control to his limit. The 9 rainbows were like lasers, piercing through the entire bug tide, killing the green centipedes one by one. They're stronger than I expected. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. He could control 5 golden blades as he wished, and if he went all out, he could control 9. However, that way, his agility, direction, and accuracy would be affected. As there were 3,000 bug clan members, hence Luo Feng did this, trying to pierce through every single head of the bug clan. However, Kuchi, a bug clan member that had its body sliced in half by the golden blade, was actually chewing on a broken bug corpse beside it. As it swallowed, it swiftly recovered and became whole again. This is the annoying part about the bug clan. The 8 images appeared everywhere, the 9 golden blades pierced and danced, trying their best to pierce through the head of the bug clan member. However, as the 5th Tower bug clan, their agility and reactions were obviously much higher, and they covered the skies and land as they enveloped over, their speed and numbers, and Luo Feng couldn't stay far away. He had to stay close to control the Nanshin armament to attack. Hence he couldn't avoid getting injured occasionally. 20 minutes later, there were still 682 bug clan members left. Luo Feng's expression was pale, there was a wound on his face. The second wave is here. Once again, a series of red shell-type bugs appeared on the surface of the mother nest. There was a total of 100 of them. Not good. Luo Feng's expression changed. Blood mantis. And there are 100 of them. This was the first time the mother nest had released all of them, a total of 3,000 green centipede. And every 20 minutes, it would produce another 1,000 green centipedes. However, the mother nest didn't have to produce green centipedes, it could produce even more terrifying bug clan members, just that their numbers were lesser. With Luo Feng going all out and killing over 2,000, leaving only 682, if the second wave only had 1,000 green centipedes, they may be heavily injured, but Luo Feng could still win. However, this time, it was the blood mantis, they were much stronger than the green centipedes. From the first to the fourth tower, Luo Feng hadn't met any blood mantis at all. Big trouble. Luo Feng's expression changed. Wang, the surviving 682 green centipedes immediately split into 100 small teams. Some teams had 6 green centipedes and 1 blood mantis. Some had 7 green centipedes and 1 blood mantis. Anyway, immediately the 100 bug clan teams, under the leadership of the blood mantis, began to surround Luo Feng in an orderly fashion, killing him. I'm not afraid of their battle strength. What I hate the most is the blood mantis leadership ability. Luo Feng's expression changed. According to his inherited memories, the bug clan's intelligence was extremely low. However, within the bug clan, there were certain bug clan leaders. And the blood mantis was the leader that often led the green mantis teams, the 100 scattered green centipedes, compared to the 10 green centipedes led by the blood mantis as one body. The latter was much more terrifying. The 100 bug clan teams were like fighter jets, of which 70 of them were attacking Luo Feng from the skies, the other 30 were attacking from the ground, underground, and with the blood mantis as the blade, Luo Feng immediately felt that he was in big trouble. Kill. Luo Feng grit his teeth. He could only go all out. Just 5 minutes later, Luo Feng's right arm was broken, his face pale, his spirit energy consumption was huge too. And out of the 100 teams, there were still 82 left, 82 blood mantis, 353 green centipede. Luo Feng had killed more green centipede. If I could reach the 9 threads level, it's a pity. Luo Feng faced the sky and land, the bug clan madly attacking him from all directions. It was almost as though he could see himself being devoured. Even if I die, I have to kill more. Luo Feng's eyes were red. Bug clan, all of you die. Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle, his speed soaring madly, crossing over the 82 bug clan teams time and time again, occasionally killing a green centipede, and with great difficulty killing a blood mantis. When Luo Feng reached the 76 team, his entire being had gone completely mad. Under such a crazy situation, his heart was still extremely cold and calm. This was a special characteristic of the golden-horned beast. Luo Feng felt the familiar space ripples. He could feel that it was slightly different. It's like this. It's like this. Luo Feng could even feel the area around him forming a square domain, almost like a 9 palace. Immediately Luo Feng's speed obviously rose by a little, simultaneously forming 9 images around him. 10,000 thread techniques, second level. 9 threads. Even though his speed had only risen by a little, and he only had 1 more image than before. However, in truth, it was a change in essence. Secret technique. What was a secret technique? It was a technique that used one's understanding of the origin laws and used it to achieve even stronger results. If someone comprehended the law of space and created 3, 4, 8, or 9 illusory bodies, he would feel that there was a limit to the increase in his strength. There wasn't much of a difference between 8 and 9 phantoms, but it was different after cultivating the 10,000 threads flow secret technique. The 1-thread technique represented a special battle technique. The 9-thread flow represented another special fighting method. For example, one could only use the 9-thread flow if they had 9 phantoms. Even 8 images wouldn't work. And Luo Feng's Masha clansmen had been training for a long time. In truth, the Masha clansmen had long since been able to unleash over 100 images. However, that was because the Masha clansman was favored by space. It was naturally easy to unleash. And in the virtual universe, Luo Feng's normal body had always been stuck at the 8-image level. Life and death moment. Madness moment. Luo Feng finally felt that special feeling. It was the same feeling as the Masha clansman unleashing the 9-thread technique. As he was familiar with that feeling, he swiftly grasped it. 9-thread technique, haha, 9-thread technique. I've finally succeeded. Luo Feng was extremely happy within. It was too difficult, after so long. He finally reached the second level of the 10,000 thread technique. Rumble. Following that familiar feeling of space, he immediately stepped on the dark cloud shuttle and moved, forming a series of strange phantoms. Each phantom was spread out, similar to the layout of the 9-palace grid. Immediately, the efficiency of the 9-thread flow increased by more than 10 times compared to just 8 phantoms. Chi, 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 chi. Luo Feng's movements were extremely peculiar. The golden blades too became unpredictable. Every slash was extremely sharp, sometimes even piercing through the blood mantis, green mantis and the other bug clan members. After a while, killing almost all the bug clan members, and then splitting open the bug clan mother nest as fast as lightning, immediately heavily injuring the bug clan queen. After which he rested for half a day, allowing his body to completely recover and recuperate, before killing the queen. He didn't wait anymore. He didn't wait for 10 more days, since he had already mastered the 9-thread technique. What was the point of dragging it out for 10 more days? From the start of the loser's circle until now, it had been over 5 years, 5 years of seclusion, 5 years of hard work. At this moment, he had finally stepped into a brand new level. The 9-thread technique was much more terrifying than the 1-thread technique. His own strength had risen to a whole new level. The next training tower. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. 5 years of silence, one explosion, shocking the world. In the plaza, over 1 million geniuses, along with the many undyings, were all looking at the only screen. The only remaining challenger, Luo Feng, had instantly unleashed his 9 images and wiped out the bug clan. The entire plaza's 1 million geniuses were completely silent. 9-thread technique. He's actually reached the 9-thread technique. The scale-armored giant 13 looked at the screen, his eyes gleaming with a heart-palpitating light. 3 chapters completed. It's already the last day of February. If I don't vote this month, it would be a waste. Please support Tomato. Tomato needs everyone's votes. At the same time, summoning recommendation tickets. Everyone has one. Chapter 437. 9 threads. 13. Your Ganwu universe country hasn't had a punk make it into the top 20 for over 100 eras. I didn't expect you to produce 2 at once. Haha, Emo Saw is right. There are 1008 universe countries here. 2 of the top 20 will be given to your universe countries. The other undyings around all laughed and joked with the scale-armored giant. Even though Luo Feng's performance was shocking, to these absolute beings from their respective universe countries, he was just a punk. That brother and sister from the Ao Gu Sea planet, didn't they make it into the top 22? The scale-armored giant revealed a smile. Haha, you punk, you actually know how to smile. It's rare to see. I've met him 3 times in these 100 eras. This is the first time I've seen him smile. He's proud, of course he'll smile. The surrounding undyings all laughed and chatted. There were a total of 1008 powerful undyings here, and those that sat with the scale-armored giant were naturally close to him. These powerful undyings all had friends, enemies, close or distant. Naturally they formed their own discussion circles. Haha, what do you guys think? This Luo Feng from our Ganwu universe country, how strong is he? The scale-armored giant looked at the other undyings around him. After cultivating the space-type flying technique, myriad thread flow, to the second level, the Nanshin armament can also control 9 illusory swords. A dark green long-haired big-nosed man, his eyes like an endless ocean, evaluated. His foundations are very solid, his mental state is stable, his potential is extremely huge. With his current strength, he can make it into the top 10. He can indeed make it into the top 10. In the training space rankings, he can make it into the top 5. And in the arena battles, he should have some confidence in making it into the top 10. The other undyings nodded. The training space couldn't fully reflect a person's strength, because there was a huge difference between training space and 1v1 battles. Just like a spirit reader controller stepping on a spirit weapon, he could flee far away and attack from afar. Fighters, however, had to kill their way into the enemy ranks. Plus, this time, there were the automaton puppets and metal life forms which didn't fear soul attacks, hence many people couldn't unleash their full potential. For example, there was a super genius who was recognized to be in the top 20 Jia Lai Shi of the Howling God clan. That hypnotist Jia Lai Shi, during his own universe country's internal selection, he could easily defeat his opponent with just a glance. But in the trial space, when facing the mechanical puppets, his illusions were completely useless. His mental attacks were completely useless. So, Phantasm Jia Lai Shi's overall ranking in the trial was only 189th. Did this mean that he was weak? In the plaza, a million geniuses raised their heads to watch Luo Feng enter the first level of the 6th tower. Your Majesty, this Luo Feng is very strong. A steel-like man said softly. Beside him was a black-haired youth dressed in silver armor, this time's rank 18 Menka youth. His eyes gleamed as he stared at Luo Feng on the screen, saying, I admit, my judgment before was wrong. Just before, the Menka youth had said, from the looks of it, he can't hold on much longer. If he can't pass the 7th level of the 5th tower, his final rank will probably be around 9 or 10. Even though his rank is higher than mine, training is different from a 1v1. In a 1v1, he's definitely not my match. I have confidence in defeating him. He was still full of confidence before. However now, what a strong opponent. The Menka youth's eyes gleamed, completely locking onto Luo Feng. He trains in the 10,000 threads. He's already reached the 9 threads level, He's a very strong opponent. I want to enter the primal region. This Luo Feng is a huge obstacle, I have to defeat him. Saying that, he clenched his fists tightly, lightning flickering. Luo Feng. The barbarian youth, Rong Jun, with messy hair and bare feet, was staring at the screen with rapt attention as he said in a low voice. He has already become very terrifying. However, no one can stop me. I will definitely become the strongest, I definitely will. A man shrouded in a black robe stared at Luo Feng on the screen amidst the crowd of geniuses, saying softly, Luo Feng? Let's see, very soon I'll let you all know that the ranking in the training space is the shit of the camel beast. I'll defeat all of you one by one, including that death god Bolin. These over 1 million geniuses were the most outstanding and elite group of absolute geniuses. They didn't easily submit to anyone, they all had absolute confidence and pride. And right now, almost all of them saw Luo Feng as an opponent not to be messed with. He can't take it anymore. He's about to lose. Even though he's strong, the 6th tower's difficulty is many times higher than the 5th. Oh, he's injured again. It's almost over. The geniuses all stared, discussing amongst themselves. Within the first level of the 6th tower, the battle had already reached its most frenzied stage. All of you go and die. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with a shocking killing intent. His entire body was covered in blood, there was even a hole in his waist. He stood on the dark cloud shuttle and transformed into 9 unfathomable images. These 9 images weren't completely disconnected, They formed a 9 cycle within the area of the 9 images. It was almost like Luo Feng's absolute domain. His movements were peculiar, unfathomable. Rumble, the earth and sky covered blood-hairy mammoths' iron hooves trampled over, their huge bodies rampaging about. Large amounts of blood-hairy mammoths all had their own domains, countless domains spread out, causing the entire battlefield to become their home ground. Luo Feng had nowhere to run. No wonder death god Bolin couldn't even pass the first level of the 7th tower. Luo Feng thought, the difficulty is too high, much higher than the 5th and 7th levels. Yes. In the 6th tower's 7th level, death god Bolin was very relaxed. He didn't seem to be straining at all. However, the moment he entered the 7th tower's 1st level, even with his life on the line, he still failed. And Luo Feng felt the problem now, even though his comprehension of the 9 threads had improved a lot. However, the 6th tower's 1st level was simply too difficult. Purring! A blood-hairy mammoth's tail smashed into Luo Feng's body, causing his movements to be interrupted for a moment. Luo Feng, who was mentally exhausted, just as he tried to dodge, he was trampled by the iron hoof. After which his mind went blank. He didn't know anything. Genius Battle, the last participant, Luo Feng, killed 6,892 bloody mammoth. Just like the previous 2nd and 6th place participants, he was stopped at the 1st level of the 6th tower. Overall rank 3. Luo Feng felt the space before him warp, after which he appeared in the plaza. The surrounding geniuses from the various universe countries and races all looked over. Luo Feng's gaze swept, swiftly confirming the position of the Ganwu Universe country team, walking over. That's Luo Feng. Overall rank 3, I've never even heard of him before, he's actually this strong. During this training process, quite a few people popped up out of nowhere. However, this Luo Feng is the strongest out of all of them. Luo Feng's eyes lit up. Listening to the discussions around, Luo Feng walked back to the Ganwu Universe country genius team. Madman, you really gave me a fright, you sure are vicious. The green-haired youth windmill shouted. Luo Feng, congratulations. Congratulations. The other youths who weren't too familiar with Luo Feng all smiled and congratulated him. After all, 99% of the people here knew they had no hope of making it into the top 1,000. Luo Feng, Rongjun, follow me. That thick voice suddenly resounded in their ears. HM? Luo Feng and Rongjun turned to look at a region in the plaza, where the 1,008 Undyings had already stood up, heading towards their respective universe country teams. The scale-armored giant immediately arrived at the Ganwu Universe team, simultaneously shouting, "All of you return to your living quarters." Rumble, the 1,008 teams, under the Undying's lead, returned to their living quarters. Skyscraper 0825, first level. The Ganwu Universe team's 1,000 geniuses stood there, under the pressure of the scale-armored giant. They were all respectful and silent. This time, our Ganwu Universe country's team has performed very well. The scale-armored giant's voice resounded throughout the entire first-level hall. He actually praised them. Other than Luo Feng and Rongjun making it into the top 100, directly gaining the right to enter the Virtual Universe Company's core. There are still 3 others in the top 7,300, with the right to fight for the final 900 spots. Other than these 5, the rest, your pinnacle genius battle has ended here. The scale-armored giant said. This caused the geniuses from the various starfields of the Ganwu Universe country to feel dejected. After struggling for so long, they had now been completely eliminated. You all can now return to reality and leave this place. You can also wait a while. The virtual universe system will immediately send you back to your respective universe country continent. The scale-armored giant said. Luo Feng, Rongjun, the 5 of you follow me. After saying that, he took big strides into the walkway. Luo Feng, Rongjun and the other 3 followed. The atmosphere within the hall was very tense. It's over. Our journey has ended. Haha, everybody, even though we've failed, we've still received the invitation to be able to enter the Ganwu secret area. It's not bad. I don't believe that even if we're weaker than them now, we'll still be weaker than them in the future. Right now we're only star levels. The training journey has only just begun. The universe level, domain lord and sector lord are still a long way off. Well said. Even if we enter the virtual universe company's core, it'll still be very hard to become undying. And in the Ganwu secret area, we can still become undying. Right. Let's go drink. These were all young men and women who had the right to enter the Ganwu secret area, other than a few that returned to reality. Most of them left for the Central Plaza restaurant. At this time, the Ganwu Universe country's 1,000 geniuses walked two paths. Most entered the Ganwu secret area. Very few entered the virtual universe company's core. As for the future, nobody knew. Chapter 438. The pinnacle geniuses were still considered calm, however the 1,008 universe countries were bustling with excitement. Especially the Ganwu universe countries over 100 million galaxies. Countless citizens were extremely excited. This was a gathering of over 1 million geniuses from the 1,008 universe countries, and 2 of the top 20 were from their own universe countries. What kind of glory was that? Our Black Dragon Mountain Empire, can actually have a young genius rush to the universe's overall rank 3? That's the universe's overall ranking. It's from our Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Oh my god. Luo Feng too strong. The overall universe ranking, that's 1,008 universe countries. The Black Dragon Mountain Empire seemed to have been smashed by this news. Even though the Black Dragon Mountain star field was considered vast and boundless, compared to the 1,008 universe countries, it was simply too small. Even the Ganwu universe country hasn't had a genius enter the top 20 in a long time, much less a tiny Black Dragon Mountain star field? There might not even be a single chance in 1 billion years. Luo Feng, Black Dragon Mountain. Luo Feng, Black Dragon Mountain. Luo Feng, Black Dragon Mountain. Within the entire Black Dragon Mountain Empire, all sorts of news networks were broadcasting about Luo Feng. Luo Feng's popularity within the Black Dragon Mountain Empire had reached an unbelievable level. Even the Emperor of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire had once excitedly declared, "Luo Feng is from my Black Dragon Mountain Empire. He is the hero of my Black Dragon Mountain Empire." This star field that wasn't even worth mentioning in the vast universe was known by many citizens of the other universe countries because of Luo Feng. Luo Feng is the hero of our Black Dragon Mountain Empire. On the virtual network, in the Black Dragon Mountain Island news broadcast, the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's emperor loudly says, "He came from my Black Dragon Mountain starfield's Milky Way galaxy. I have decided to officially gift his hometown Milky Way galaxy to him. From today onwards, he is the Milky Way galaxy's leader." The emperor made a public announcement. The Black Dragon Mountain Empire's imperial family was completely selling him a favor. In truth, the emperor had long promised to gift the Milky Way galaxy to Luo Feng, but publicly announcing it now was obviously raising Luo Feng's position. For Luo Feng to have such a strong reputation in the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, the empire's royal family's contributions couldn't go unnoticed. Bastard! Luo Lin sat in his study, gritting his teeth, crushing the cup in his hand. It's over, there's no hope at all. The higher-ups have decided to completely rope in Luo Feng. The Empire's royal family and the sacred land Black Dragon Mountain behind them, the upper echelons had all decided to try their best to rope in Luo Feng, using their hometown ties to maintain their relationship. As long as Luo Feng didn't die with his third-rank talent, he would definitely have enough power and influence within the core of the Virtual Universe Company. The Virtual Universe Company, one of the 5 Leviathans, even slightly ahead of the 5 Leviathans. Even the 1,008 universe countries had to look up to these 5 Leviathans. Once Luo Feng grasps a certain amount of power in the future, just a little bit of help at a crucial moment would benefit the Black Dragon Mountain Empire greatly. As for the ninth prince, Buluo Lin, he wasn't even one of the upper echelons of the empire, so how could he influence the empire's decision? It's over. Nulan Shan looked at the screen, his eyes filled with unwillingness. With his status as a core member of the virtual companies, the moment he finds me, killing me would be as easy as killing an ant. Hibernate! Hibernate! Nulan Shan gritted his teeth. Unless I become stronger than him in the future, otherwise I'll have to stay hidden forever and not reveal anything. Since that's the case, Nulan Shan's eyes gleamed coldly, then I'll go to the alien battlefields. Otherwise I won't even have a chance of surpassing him. Nulan Shan was a ruthless person too, to be able to fight 1,000 battles to the death in the Battleaxe Coliseum. He was also decisive in his killing, leaving his base the moment he sensed danger. And now, Nulan Shan sat in a universe ship and left the planet Earth. Oh my god, what? Luo Feng has become a Milky Way leader? North America continent, Washington headquarters city, a group of upper echelons were completely shocked. Milky Way leader? How can that be? From the information we acquired from the Virtual Universe Network, didn't they say that universe-level warriors can acquire 10 planets as their territories, and only sector lords can be gifted with a galaxy as their territory? According to this information, sector lords are terrifying beings that can destroy our Earth with a flip of their hands, even stars and white dwarfs. Before a sector lord, they are nothing. How did Luo Feng get gifted with a galaxy? The upper echelons of America were all shocked. Earth's 5 great countries, even though they were grateful to Luo Feng, they weren't like China, who had a blood connection. The other countries were actually a little unhappy. Why was Earth's leader a Chinese? Why couldn't he be an American? Why couldn't he be an Indian? Of course, no one dared to say it out loud, however this news had completely shocked them. Attention all, please allow me to explain in detail what the Universe Genius Battle represents. A golden-haired lady said. After listening, I believe everyone will understand Luo Feng's current status, what it represents, why he can receive treatment comparable to a sector lord. Milky Way leader. Haha, Luo Feng is really powerful. Old Wang, how many life planets does our Milky Way galaxy have? According to the information we acquired from the Virtual Universe Network, the Milky Way galaxy has over 210,000 life planets. Haha, over 210,000 life planets? All of a sudden, they've all become Luo Feng's? Good, he's brought glory to our Earth, and also brought glory to our Chinese people. Our Chinese, even though they've treated us as aboriginals, but our aboriginals have produced a genius in the entire universe. He can make it to the top 3. Earth's 5 great countries, the various headquarters cities' leaders all received the news. They were all speechless over the Milky Way leader's status. However, the leaders didn't tell the commoners. In truth, the commoners of Earth didn't know much about the universe. The upper echelons didn't want the commoners to come into contact with the universe so quickly. Third Brother's improvement is really shocking. The black-clothed youth Hong, who sat cross-legged in the thatched cottage, opened his eyes. I can't relax either. Teacher's friend is really weird, an undying. He's actually willing to live on such a planet without any technology. His gaze passed through the thatched cottage door, looking at the sky a few hundred km away. In the sky, there were a few barbaric men dressed in beast skins flying in the sky. This planet was the place of an undying. The entire planet was in an extremely primitive state. The humans on the planet all dug out their own potential, gradually forming sections. And this undying lived here. Those sects didn't even know there was an undying from the universe here. Hong, let's go. The Time Sector Lord Luo immediately appeared in front of the thatched cottage. Hong immediately stood up and rushed into the sky, sitting in a universe ship and leaving the planet. The aboriginal sects on this planet didn't even know that 2 universe warriors had arrived here. You've done well, I'll allow you to rest. Lord Wu shouted. Not enough, still not enough. Third brother has already made it to rank 3, my improvement isn't enough. On Mars of the solar system, Thunder God was following Lord Wu's training plan, constantly improving himself. Luo Feng didn't know at all, the universe's rank 3 had a huge impact. He was with Rong Jun and the other 4, listening to the scale-armored giants lecture. Tomorrow's qualification battles, it'll depend on your performance. Understood. You 3 leave first, Luo Feng and Rong Jun stay. The scale-armored giant said. Immediately the other 3 youths in the huge room left respectfully, leaving only Luo Feng and Rong Jun. The scale-armored giant's gaze landed on the 14th third. The scale-armored giant's voice was thick, that faint pressure made Luo Feng and Rong Jun struggle to stand. Do you 2 feel a sense of pride within, thinking that you're very strong? No. Savage Rong Jun said. The training doesn't mean anything. Luo Feng said. Humph. The scale-armored giant snorted. You 2 are still able to keep your cool, not letting this little honor get to your heads. Right. Luo Feng, you're right. This training doesn't mean anything at all. Let me tell you, the top 10 of this training, there are 2 fighters and 8 spirit reader controllers. Luo Feng's expression changed. There were actually 8 controllers in the top 10, do you understand? These types of training are the most beneficial to the spirit reader controllers. Next are the fighters. It's the most disadvantageous to the hypnotist. The scale-armored giant said. That howling god clan genius Jia Lai Shi, many of us Undyings agree that his strength is within the top 10, however he's only ranked 189. In the training, to be able to make it into the top 20, naturally they're very strong. And some of those ranked 30 to 50, they might not be weak either. Especially some of the spirit reader hypnotists, all of them are ranked over 100, their actual battle strength is hard to say. The scale-armored giant emphasized, hence you must not be careless, otherwise, you might become someone else's stepping stone. Luo Feng and Rong Jun listened obediently. Of course, the training also reflects one's strength to a certain extent. From the many of us Undyings watching your broadcasts and judging, Luo Feng, in our judgment, you're in the top 10. The scale-armored giant looked at savage Rong Jun. Rong Jun, in our judgment, you're in the top 20. Luo Feng and Rong Jun didn't make a sound. The scale-armored giant looked at the 2. After a while, he said, of course, the actual battle also depends on one's performance and one's fighting style. The top 20 can still make it into the top 10, and the top 10 can still be defeated by those behind. After all, the difference in strength isn't that big. Alright. You 2 rest, you've both gotten your spots, there's nothing for you 2 to do tomorrow. Prepare yourselves for the final battle. Even though there are 1,000 who can enter the core, the treatment is very different. There's a difference in status within the core too, like that death god Bolin. He'll definitely be able to enter the primal region. As for you 2, work hard and work hard. The scale-armored giant said. P.S. The second update is here, 3 minutes late. Continue writing the third update. Chapter 439. Luo Feng and Savage Rong Jun walked out of the scale-armored giant's room. Luo Feng. Savage Rong Jun shouted. Luo Feng looked over. Savage Rong Jun's tiger eyes gleamed, saying solemnly, your improvement makes me respect you. I really hope to meet you in the arena battles later and defeat you. Defeat me? Luo Feng's lips curled into a smile. I'm looking forward to it. Savage Rong Jun turned and left. Luo Feng looked at his back. This Rong Jun seems to disagree with the scale-armored giant's judgment, as though he has confidence in defeating me. Luo Feng didn't have any other emotions, all he had was anticipation towards the strong opponents. The stronger the opponent, the more he could train himself. That day, the 1,000,000 geniuses that were eliminated were all teleported away. The entire building 0825 only had 6 left. The leader Undying and 5 other youths. Dawn of the second day. Including Luo Feng, Rong Jun and the other 7,300 geniuses gathered in the plaza. Suddenly, a formless energy enveloped the entire plaza, causing the 7,300 human geniuses and elites to uncontrollably feel a sense of submission. Everyone looked up, only to see a familiar silhouette in mid-air. He was dressed in a green armor that seemed normal but was actually filled with a profound energy. His head was covered in purple scales, his face always had a smile on it, however when his eyes swept across, no one dared to meet his gaze. Knight, 1,008 powerful undyings, all bowed respectfully at the same time. This caused the hearts of the 7,300 geniuses to jump. The training has ended. Firstly, congratulations to the first to 100th participants. You have obtained the right to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company. Right now, if anyone isn't willing, you can speak up. Our Virtual Universe Company definitely won't force anyone. The green-armored purple-scaled man's voice was faint, resounding in everyone's ears and mind. Silence. No one made a sound. Good. The green-armored purple-scaled man nodded satisfactorily. 101st to 7,300th. These 7,200 participants, according to your performance in the training space, the Virtual Universe system has already automatically arranged arena battles for you. Those who win 3 battles consecutively will receive a spot, losers will be eliminated. 7,200 people, 1 battle and half were eliminated. After 3 battles, only 900 were left. These words caused many geniuses and elites below to be puzzled. Winning 3 matches in a row to get a spot? If 2 experts were to meet, wouldn't one of them be eliminated? Luo Feng thought, back in the Ganwu Universe country, such a situation had occurred. He had met Rong Jun. Luo Feng's thoughts were the thoughts of many of the geniuses and elites present. The arrangement of the Virtual Universe system is definitely the best, there's no need to doubt it. The green-robed, purple-scaled man said slowly, now, 7,200 trial takers, go and fight in the arena. Boom, the central plaza trembled slightly, and 7,200 of the elite geniuses were suddenly teleported away, leaving only 100 human elite geniuses. Luo Feng looked around, it was completely empty, there were only 100 human youths, of which there was the white-robed death god Bolin, the Manka youth filled with battle intent, the genius siblings from the Aogu Sea planet standing together, the 6M tall man carrying a blood axe, the Dream Shell clan youth, the youth with a face full of hair like a bear's head, the enchanting black-haired girl with 4 arms, the youth with a shy face. 100 people. They were all ranked within the top 100 in the training, destined to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Company, absolute geniuses. These 100 geniuses were all paying attention to the others, they understood that the others would become their competitors. There are seats over there, you all can watch the broadcast. The green-armored purple-scaled man pointed into the distance. Immediately in the corner of the plaza, 100 large chairs and tables appeared. On the tables were wine and food, and the green-armored purple-scaled man himself sat in the 1,008 undyings area. Death God Bolin, Luo Feng, and the 100 others all sat down. Luo Feng and Rong Jun chose the closest seats. No matter what, they were from the same universe country, they were closer to each other, what's more they had good feelings for each other. Look, there are 3,600 screens. It's about to begin. The God Clan's hypnotist Jiao Lai, she is on that screen. A few familiar absolute geniuses chatted, and in the air above the plaza there were indeed 3,600 huge screens. Every screen was broadcasting a battle that was about to begin. Very quickly, on the 3,600 screens, the battles began at almost the same time. The fights for the 900 slots had officially begun. The victors advanced, the losers were eliminated, everything was cruel. On the screen, a youth knelt on the ground, there was a hole in his forehead, his gaze was slack, his lips moved, one could tell he was saying, "I'm not satisfied." Absolute geniuses fell one after another. Within 5 minutes, 3,600 of them had been eliminated. Not satisfied. Those who were eliminated were naturally not satisfied. They had already reached this step, just a little bit more in a universe country. Compared to the core of the virtual universe company, it was completely different. Those 5 Leviathans were the 5 pinnacle powers of humanity in the universe. These absolute geniuses all thought they were impressive. Only the pinnacle powers were worthy of them. If they wanted to enter, they would enter the best. Half an hour later, the second round began. Of the 3,600 geniuses, half fell again, the other half continued to advance. Another half an hour later, after they had rested and prepared, the third round began. These 1,800 absolute geniuses were all incomparably eager. They were only one step away from the final victory, however. In every arena, only one could enter the core of the virtual universe company, the other had to be eliminated. Luo Feng and Rong Jun both paid attention to the 10 screens. To the absolute geniuses with strong willpower and spirit, multitasking was very easy, and the 100 absolute geniuses present, even though they all paid attention to many screens, they all paid attention to one. That was the Howling God Clan hypnotist Jia Lai Shi's battle. He won. He still won just like that. Luo Feng frowned. Hypnotist Jia Lai Shi's 3 battles, in the first and second, he just stood there without moving and his opponent immediately fell. And in the third battle, even though his opponent suffered a soul attack the first time and barely held on, he still fell the second time. All 3 wins. Hypnotist Jia Lai Shi obtained a slot. This hypnotist is very terrifying, Savage said solemnly. Luo Feng stared at the screen. Pure soul attacks normally aren't that terrifying. However, if it's combined with hypnotism, it's terrifying. This hypnotism can cause one to unknowingly fall into an illusion, without even realizing it. This terrifying hypnotist is a fighter's natural enemy. Savage Rong Jun nodded. Like Luo Feng, training in Soul Imprint and Void Pagoda, these 2 secret techniques, his spirit energy control had already reached an extremely high level. His defense was extremely strong too. Against hypnotist Jia Lai Shi, he still had some confidence. However, the fighters, most of them had withdrawn their spirit energy and strengthened their willpower. Maybe it was still effective against spirit energy attacks, however against hypnotism, many of them would fall for it. Hypnotist Jia Lai Shi, against the automaton golems, metal life forms, Masha clansmen and other beings without souls, hypnotism was ineffective. However, against those with souls, its power was extremely great. Shwa, 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 shwa. 900 silhouettes suddenly appeared in the plaza. These 900 human geniuses were all filled with excitement. Yes, after 3 rounds of elimination, out of the 7,200, the final 900 had succeeded. However, amongst these geniuses, there were a few who remained expressionless, like a tall and skinny man shrouded in a black robe. No wonder those undyings confirmed that hypnotist Jia Lai Shi has the strength of the top 10. Luo Feng and the rest of the 100 stood up and walked over to gather. Luo Feng's gaze landed on the black-robed tall and skinny man. The black-robed tall and skinny man suddenly looked at Luo Feng. The opponent's peculiar eyes seemed to be guiding him. However, Luo Feng's willpower was incomparably strong. He wasn't affected at all. His eyes stared coldly at the opponent, almost like a golden-horned beast staring at its opponent. 2 geniuses that the group of undyings had confirmed to be in the top 10, at this time, they were extremely eager to battle their opponent. The 1,000 geniuses gathered together. Many who were confirmed to be in the top 10 or 20, or those who thought they were at the top, were all looking at the others. Congratulations! A faint voice resounded within the minds of the 1,000. Everyone discovered that the green-armored man had appeared before them. You are this time's genius battle. the entire universe's 1008 universe countries' most elite 1000. Our virtual universe company will also do our best to nurture you. If anyone doesn't wish to enter the virtual universe company, you can say it now. Silence, no one made a sound. Very good. However, you should all understand that the competition within the universe is eternal. There's competition everywhere. The 1000 of you won't be able to receive the same treatment and resources. Even our virtual universe company wouldn't dare to waste such precious resources. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled. Let me announce. Of the 1000 of you, 101st to 1000th will receive 10 mixed elements as a reward, and will be able to enter the primal universe to study and enter our virtual universe company's core last phase secret area. 11th to 100th will receive 100 mixed elements as a reward, and will be able to enter the primal universe to study and enter our virtual universe company's core sky and land secret area. 3rd to 10th will receive 1000 mixed elements as a reward, and will be able to enter the primal universe to study and enter our virtual universe company's core absolute beginning secret area. 1st and 2nd will receive 10,000 mixed elements as a reward, and will be able to enter the primal universe to study and enter our virtual universe company's core primal secret area. Under normal circumstances, the primal secret area will only accept one person every time. However, this time's standard is rather outstanding. Hence, the virtual universe company's upper echelons have discussed and decided to give you 2 slots to enter the primal secret area. *** 3 chapters completed. Thank you everyone for your support in February. Especially on the last day, the monthly votes actually increased by 2,000. Tomato was extremely touched. Thank you very much. The main thing was that Tomato wasn't strong enough in the first half of the month. March. Everyone please work hard with Tomato. If you have monthly votes, please support Tomato. Tomato really wanted to wake up tomorrow and see the monthly votes rush to first. Please everyone, support Tomato. Please click below to recommend monthly votes to support the author. In the new month, everyone should have monthly votes. Chapter 440. Silence. The 1000 absolute geniuses were all suspicious. Last phase region, sky and land region, absolute beginning region and primal region, these 4 regions, what did they mean? However, everyone could tell, it was obvious that the primal region was the best of the 4. You 1000, there are still strong and weak ones, the resources won't all be the same. Tomorrow, we'll begin the arena battles and decide the final rankings. The green-armored purple-scaled man's voice was distant and vast, resounding within everyone's mind, and the battle rules have already been sent to all of you. Have a good rest today. Rumble. The green-armored purple-scaled man vanished after he finished. At this time, the 1008 Undyings began to discuss amongst themselves. The primal region, they actually managed to get 2 spots this time. I originally thought the primal region spot would definitely go to that punk called Bolin. I didn't expect there to be another spot. The virtual universe company, it's rare for them to be so generous. While the group of Undyings were discussing, Luo Feng and the rest of the 1000 all lowered their heads to look at the screen on their wrist. On the screen, they had already received the battle rules. Luo Feng frowned as he looked. The rules are as follows. 900 geniuses have just been decided from the 3 elimination rounds. These 900 will be chosen based on their performance in the training space and the 3 elimination round. The virtual universe system will pick out the best 100. They are Jia Lai Shi, Carpenter, La Sha, Lei Shi, Wu Te Wei Siku. These 100 will face off against the first 100 in the training space. A total of 200 will engage in 1v1 battles. The victorious 100 will have the right to enter the sky and land region. The other 900 will enter the last phase region. Of the victorious 100, according to the virtual universe system's judgment, the best 20 will be chosen. These 20 will engage in 1v1 battles, and the top 10 will be chosen. The top 10 will have the right to enter the absolute beginning region. The first and second of the top 10 will be chosen to enter the primal region. There will be a detailed battle list. This rule is really arbitrary. Luo Feng thought. It's actually letting the virtual universe system pick out 100 of the 900 to battle the top 100. Looks like the virtual universe company still has absolute trust in their virtual universe system. Anyway, it shouldn't be a big problem with me. I have the right to battle. How can they do this? They won't even give us the right to fight? This is too much. This is trusting the virtual universe system too much. In the central plaza, the other peerless geniuses were in an uproar. The rules of this battle were equivalent to directly excluding 800 out of 1,000 people. They weren't even given a chance to show their strength. Naturally, many of the geniuses present were in a bad mood and felt very unhappy. Virtual Universe Company. A sharp voice resounded fiercely. Luo Feng felt uncomfortable in his ears, turning to look. In the crowd, a skinny, 5-meter-tall young man with a vertical eye between his brows had a ferocious look on his face. His 3 eyes were filled with madness as he screamed, "I'm 100% sure I can make it to the top 100 or even the top 20. Based on what? Just based on the virtual universe system to exclude me? I refuse to accept this. I refuse to accept this. It's not fair. It's not fair." Someone shouted from the side. "This is not fair. If we really fight, whoever loses will be eliminated. That's the only way it's fair, otherwise we won't accept this." Immediately 10 youths from the many universe countries shouted. Luo Feng, Savage Rongjun and the other 200 on the name list were considered calm. The other 800, other than the 3-eyed youth who was extremely excited, the others were also unwilling to accept this. "Shut up. What are you all doing? All of you shut up." In the distance, many of the 1,008 powerful undyings roared. At the same time, that terrifying consciousness pressure spread out, directly pressuring those 800 people, causing their faces to turn pale, their bodies trembling, their legs trembling. Pa. Finally someone couldn't take it anymore and knelt down, and then, pa. One by one, they couldn't take it anymore and knelt down. 800 people knelt down. Rumble, the 1,008 undyings all appeared before the group of geniuses, looking down at the kneeling group. "I refuse to accept this. I refuse to accept this." Within the kneeling group, the 3-eyed youth pressed his arms against the ground, his tendons bulging like worms. He raised his head and roared. "Idiot!" Amongst the 1,008 undyings, the scale-armored giant stared coldly at the 3-eyed youth. At this time, a majestic voice resounded. "If you have any objections to the rules of the virtual universe system, you can choose not to join our virtual universe company. Our virtual universe company will not force anyone to join." The voice resounded throughout the land and skies, causing the expressions of the 800 geniuses to change. Too. This was too ruthless. Standing beside, including Luo Feng, Savage Rongjun, Death God Bolin etc., the other 200 were all shocked. "It's actually such a reply." Luo Feng was shocked within. The 800 geniuses couldn't believe it. The 3-eyed youth too had a look of disbelief on his face. Yes, he was a true absolute genius. Within the universe country he came from, he was the number one. He had always been the pride of the heavens. Even the universe country leaders valued him greatly. His opinion was even respected by many undyings. From his point of view, this rule was simply too much. His request should have been accepted. However, the virtual universe company's reply was, "If you didn't agree, you could leave. No one would force you to join." It was just that simple. What fools! Amongst the 1,008 undyings, a powerful undying with long black hair looked at the 800 kneeling on the ground, saying coldly, The upper echelon of the Virtual Universe Company has made a decision on the rules. Is it something you punks can change? You really think too highly of yourselves. If it was Death God Bolin, that punk's opinion, it might have been respected, because he's long been recognized to be able to enter the Primal Region. He's a Primal Region member. A white-robed old man with a head full of silver scales looked at the three-eyed youth. As for you, you're at the outermost layer of the core, and you dare say you don't agree? Little punks, remember this. You may all be the pinnacle geniuses in your respective universe countries, however in the Virtual Universe Company, the Virtual Universe Company holds a genius battle for the star levels every 10,000 years. At the same time they also hold a battle for the universe levels. Within the Virtual Universe Company, there are countless geniuses. The strong are as numerous as the clouds. It's best you all stay low profile. Going against the decision of the highest level is a huge taboo. The 1008 Undyings were very clear that these geniuses were all extremely talented, however most of them were arrogant and had bad tempers. And the path to the pinnacle was incomparably tough. If one always had such arrogance, it would be easy to fail and fall, hence it was good to fiercely beat down these geniuses. Skyscraper 0825, First Level Hall. Luo Feng and Rong Jun both sat in chairs. As for the original three members, they'd all been eliminated in the previous 3 rounds of elimination. Before, I couldn't help but be a little arrogant, however that scene earlier. I understand, in the eyes of the Virtual Universe Company, we're just a batch of seeds they've absorbed. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. Within the Virtual Universe Company, they've accumulated many geniuses. Their positions are different, their words naturally have different effects. Savage said solemnly, the 4 great secret regions are the difference between the core members of this huge organization, the Virtual Universe Company. Didn't you hear the Undying say earlier, if Death God Bolin's opinion was to be respected? Luo Feng nodded. The slots for the Primal Region are extremely few. Savage said, the entire Virtual Universe Company is such a huge power, yet there are only 100 Sector Lords in the Primal Region. 100? Luo Feng was shocked. Sector Lords had extremely long lifespans. Even the Ganwu Universe Country had over 1 million Sector Lords. And the powerful Virtual Universe Company, how many Sector Lords did they have? The number of Sector Lords that entered the Primal Region, only 100. Hence, you should understand how special it is for the Primal Region to be able to absorb 2 members. Savage said, the Primal Region, as the core of the Virtual Universe Company, for example Death God Bolin, even though he's a star-level universe level, his position is extremely high. Even the Emperor from your hometown Black Dragon Mountain Empire can't compare to him. Luo Feng was stunned. The Primal Region member's position was even higher than the Emperor of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire? That's right. The Virtual Universe Company only had 100 Sector Lords in the Primal Region. One could see how special the Primal Region members were. It wasn't strange for them to be higher than the Emperor of a starfield. And I've heard that the Primal Region members have a specialized guard team. Savage said, the leader of the guard team is an Undying. Within the team there are 10 Sector Lords and 100 Domain Lords. No matter how calm Luo Feng was, he couldn't help but stare wide-eyed. Damn. Is that true? Luo Feng couldn't help but lose his composure. It wasn't strange for the Primal Region members to have a guard team. However, the leader of the team was actually an Undying. This was too terrifying. Don't be shocked, the Virtual Universe Company is one of the 5 Leviathans, even Undyings in the Virtual Universe Company. Many of them are only in the absolute beginning region. Just in terms of position, they're still slightly weaker. Savage said, you should understand, the Primal Region members are extremely valuable. Any one of them are the most important elites of the Virtual Universe Company. Just the resources spent on them, if converted to money, would be an unimaginably huge number. Luo Feng was completely shocked. P.S. Thank you, brothers. Tomato has indeed rushed to first in the monthly votes, however now he's been overtaken, please support him with your monthly votes. The first day was very important. Tomato continued writing. Chapter 441. When Luo Feng returned to his room, he was still in shock. It took a while before he calmed down. How does that savage Rong Jun know so much? Luo Feng thought. He actually knows so much about the Virtual Universe Company's 4 secret regions, looks like his background isn't simple either. This time, the 2 from the Ganwu Universe country that made it into the top 1,000, Luo Feng and Rong Jun both came from their own starfield. They seemed to have no background in truth. Luo Feng had received the UNMO planet's inheritance, and was considered a golden horned beast. And savage Rong Jun, his background was obviously not simple either. Earth, Yangzhou City, West Lake Courtyard, within the castle. Sitting in the tea room, pouring himself a cup of tea and taking a sip, his consciousness communicating with Babata. Babata, what's going on with the Virtual Universe Company's 4 secret regions? Luo Feng told Babata everything that savage Rong Jun had told him before, and also told him the rules of the duel, simultaneously mentioning what happened in the plaza earlier. That group of idiots, they actually dared to doubt the virtual universe system? My God, their brains must have gone crazy. The virtual universe system is a heavenly being that can simulate all sorts of origin laws. Babata screamed. Luo Feng was speechless. Babata was obviously standing on the virtual universe system's side. That savage Rong Jun was right. The primal region members, their positions are indeed very high. Babata said, to the Virtual Universe Company, those able to enter the primal region are all extremely rare absolute geniuses, hence the Virtual Universe Company will spend large amounts of precious resources to nurture them. How much resources? As much as my teacher's wealth? Luo Feng asked. Luo Feng, you have to understand one thing. Babata said seriously. Your teacher is indeed a very powerful undying, even the Black Dragon Mountain Empire has to lower their heads before him. However, your teacher, compared to the Ganwu Universe country leader, is on a completely different level. Luo Feng nodded. The Ganwu Universe country leader, that was an ancient being that had lived for trillions of years and established a universe country. And the Ganwu Universe country leader has to listen to the Virtual Universe Company. Babata said, 1,008 universe countries, who would dare offend the Virtual Universe Company? That is a true Leviathan. For such a huge entity to nurture the geniuses of the primitive mystic realm, they have to have a strict plan. Their numbers are pitifully small. The amount of resources and wealth they spend. How can your teacher's assets compare? Luo Feng was silent. You have to broaden your horizons. You have to look far, don't just limit yourself to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, don't limit yourself to just one universe country, look to the entire universe. Actually, I know, from the day you succeeded in possessing the golden horned beast, your path has been even further and more unpredictable than your teacher's. Babata said, of course, from what I know, entering the primitive secret realm is not a one-time thing. There is a competition system. The weak will be kicked out of the primitive secret realm, and there might be some geniuses in the absolute beginning secret realm who can enter the primitive secret realm. So, if you want to enjoy the best resources, you have to work hard. Because behind you, there are a large number of peerless geniuses eyeing your position. Once you relax, you might be chased down by others. Luo Feng's blood was boiling. Looking forward to it. Yes, this was the kind of life he was looking forward to. Those with abilities would rise, those without would fall. It was just that simple. Babata, even now I don't really understand, the primitive secret realm members, when they are only at the star level, they still have a guard team, and the leader of the guard team is even an undying. Luo Feng said, no matter what, that's an undying, a great undying. Yes, an undying is very great. Babata said. However, a primitive secret realm member is also a great being. Luo Feng, I'll explain it to you this way, Babata said. Determining one's position isn't just based on strength, there are many other factors too. For example, the virtual universe company has people in charge of business. Some of them are business geniuses or investment geniuses. Their strength is low, but they still have high positions. Like the universe first bank's investment genius Fei Fei, the amount of funds he controls is incomparably huge. Even though his strength is weak, he has an undying protecting him. Luo Feng was shocked. Same logic. Just like that death god Bolin, yes, he is weak now. However, you have to understand, he is the universe's #1 genius in 10 million years. Only one in 10 million years. And 10 million years is the lifespan of a sector lord. 1008 universe countries. Every universe country has over 1 million sector lord. You can calculate how many sector lords have appeared in the 10 million years. Luo Feng held his breath. This death god Bolin, in terms of his value and position, you can imagine. Everyone who enters the primitive secret realm is the most important elite of the virtual universe company. This is its foundation. Babata exclaimed. Comprehending the origin laws is the easiest to comprehend during the sector lord stage. However, during the difficult star level stage, Death God Bolin's comprehension of the space laws has already reached such a level. Think about it, how high will his future accomplishments be? Without a doubt. As long as he doesn't fall. Then in the space laws, he will definitely surpass your teacher. As long as he becomes an undying, he will be the pinnacle of undying, almost invincible. Babata exclaimed. And the space laws are one of the two most difficult origin laws. If he can become an undying, that would be terrifying. You have to remember, the difference between undying and undying is huge. That's why the Time Sector Lord had such ambition. It's a pity the Time Sector Lord didn't succeed. If he had, he would have become an undying. His strength would probably be close to your teacher's. Of course! The Virtual Universe Company's core is split into the 4 secret realms. From high to low, primal, absolute beginning, sky and land, apocalypse, many undyings are in the absolute beginning region. Don't be too ambitious. Just being able to enter the absolute beginning region is already a success. Also, the most important thing for you now is to deal with your first opponent Wu Te Wei Si Ku. Luo Feng lifted his teacup and drank it all in one gulp. Wu Te Wei Si Ku would be his opponent tomorrow. Dawn of the second day. In the plaza, 1,000 absolute geniuses were gathered. Luo Feng was in the crowd, looking at the distant tall three-eyed youth. His expression was solemn and he didn't make a sound. Obviously yesterday's events had dealt a huge blow to him. Night. In the distance, the 1,008 undyings bowed respectfully. In the distance, the green-robed, purple-scaled man nodded slightly. He then turned his head to look at the 1,000 youths and said, "Today is a good day. We will select the top 100, top 10, first and second place from among the 1,000 of you. Are you all prepared? Then let the battle begin." The green-robed, purple-scaled man looked down at everyone. With a wave of his hand, 100 huge arenas appeared in the central plaza. The edges of each arena were covered with black silk net. At the same time, 200 young men and women, including Savage Rong Jun, Phantom Demon Jia Lai Shi and the rest, were teleported into the arenas. There were 2 people in each arena. Immediately, the powerful undyings and the geniuses and elites who didn't have the qualifications to participate all focused on Death God Bolin's battle. In one of the arenas, it was Luo Feng against Wu Te Wei Si Ku. The silver-white arena had an area of about 10 kilometers. The black net enveloped the entire arena. Madman Luo Feng, from the Ganwu Universe Country Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Rank 3 in the training grounds, famous for his madness under extreme calmness. A completely black skinny youth with thick lips stared coldly at the distant Luo Feng, shouting, "My training grounds rank is 113, I'll let you know, ranking means nothing. Cut the crap." Luo Feng carried the dark golden long rod on his back, and stood on the dark cloud shuttle, floating in mid-air and shouting. "Very good." The skinny youth smiled. "After dealing with you, I'll be able to enter the sky and land region. After dealing with one more opponent, I'll be able to enter the absolute beginning region." Who? A gust of wind blew and the skinny youth became a gust of wind and flew towards Luo Feng. It seemed slow, but it was actually extremely fast. Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and gazed at his opponent from mid-air. Information flashed through his mind. Wu Te Wei Si Ku, nicknamed Fierce Wind. He uses a level 5 genetic energy weapon, the Illusory Blade. In battle, his blade attacks are extremely fast, merging into the wind and penetrating through every opening. It's incomparably ferocious and hard to defend against. Die. The skinny youth's eyes gleamed. Xiao, 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 Xiao. The skinny youth, who was originally like the wind, immediately sped up. At the same time, the shadow blade in his hand immediately became a raging gale. Endless blade lights gathered to form a gale that engulfed the entire area. The blade lights and the gale wrapped around Luo Feng, leaving him with nowhere to hide. Humph! Luo Feng snorted coldly. He stepped on the dark cloud shuttle and instantly streaked across a mysterious trajectory. He actually managed to find a gap in the sword light that didn't seem to have any gaps at all, leaving behind 9 phantoms. This caused the skinny youth's expression to change slightly. To be able to escape like this, the 9 threads flow, described in the intelligence report, is indeed terrifying. The moment Luo Feng dodged the opponent's attack, the dark golden long rod on his back immediately shot out 5 beams of golden light, forming 5 golden illusory blades that appeared in mid-air. Go! Luo Feng stared coldly at his opponent, almost like he was staring at a dead man. Under the golden energy flow, it was as though 5 golden dragons were roaring and piercing towards the skinny youth in the middle of the tornado. Go and die! The skinny youth's expression was fierce, his eyes filled with desire. Xiao! With a wave of his hand, a white light shot out. The white light instantly traversed a few hundred meters, instantly reaching before Luo Feng. It was actually even faster than the golden illusory blade. Luo Feng's expression changed. He desperately relied on the dark cloud shuttle to burst forth with its fastest speed. Simultaneously 16 shields appeared around him. The second chapter had arrived. This chapter was really late, it took a lot of effort to write. Tomato continued to write the third chapter. I'll leave the monthly votes to everyone. I've fallen to 4th. Chapter 442. When this white light suddenly shot over, Luo Feng was extremely calm, immediately making the best response. 1. Relying on the dark cloud shuttle to dodge as much as possible. 2. Relying on the soaring shuttle's sword array to defend. 3. The dark golden long rod on his back shot out 4 beams of golden light that automatically formed 4 golden blades to block the white light. The 4 golden rainbows shot out from behind Luo Feng, almost like an inescapable net that blocked the white light. Dang! A crisp sound, causing the distant skinny youth's expression to change greatly. It's blocked. This was his ultimate move. He had bitterly studied it for a long time, comprehending the wind origin laws, creating this move that was infused with law comprehension. This move, the leaving blade, was infused with the wind characteristics. Its speed was extremely fast, and its trajectory was ethereal, extremely powerful. It was his trump card. In the trial space, hidden weapons were useless, and in the 3 elimination rounds, the opponents weren't worth it for him to use hidden weapons. So, he had kept this hidden card in his hand until now. He was prepared to use this move to deal with the opponents who were unprepared. Trump cards, when no one knew about them, they were the most powerful. If one wasn't prepared, it would be easy to get hit. The moment someone knew, the opponent would naturally be prepared. The power of the trump card would be reduced. However, Luo Feng was too calm. Even though this move was sudden, Luo Feng was terrifyingly calm. Without any hesitation he made a series of responses. However, just the 4 golden blades were enough to block it. Unleashing the sword matrix and dodging techniques were of no use at all. Die! Luo Feng looked coldly at his opponent. The other 5 golden blades enveloped the skinny youth. His speed obviously couldn't compare to the blades. He was instantly pierced through. Wu Te Wei Ku defeated. Luo Feng victory. Luo Feng landed from mid-air, looking at the white light that was blocked. It was a little silver-white blade. Those with the qualifications to make it to the top 100, indeed none of them can be underestimated. In the universe, spirit readers could control spirit weapons from afar, and fighters could use throwing weapons, like javelins, hatchets, short swords etc. In Earth's terms, this was called a hidden weapon. For a hidden weapon to be this strong, it was indeed rare. 1st victory, Luo Feng entered the top 100, his prize rose to 100 mixed elements. He could enter the Virtual Universe Company's sky and land region. Congratulations to the little fellows standing in the arena. The green-armored purple-scaled man stood in mid-air, gazing down at the 100 youths on the arena. Firstly, congratulations on entering the top 100. You can enter my Virtual Universe Company's sky and land region. Now we'll pick out the best 20 of you. According to the Virtual Universe System's selection, I'll announce a list of 20 people. Immediately, the 100 young geniuses who had just won became nervous. Although they had won, only 20 of them were qualified to fight in the next battle. The next battle was to select the top 10. Luo Feng stood in the arena where he fought earlier, looking at the green-armored purple-scaled man in mid-air, frowning. I didn't unleash my strongest trump card. My evaluation in the Virtual Universe System may be slightly lower, however. According to the scale-armored giant and the others, I should be able to rank in the top 10, then I should be chosen. Bolin. The green-robed, purple-scaled man began to announce the names of the 20 people. Gu Thru. Ai Chen. Wuka. Yi Feng. Jiao Laishi. Rong Jun. As the names were announced one by one, those who didn't have their names announced couldn't hide their anxiety. They were all victors, and only 20 of them could participate in the next battle. Qian Shui. Luo Feng. Tao. The 20 chosen by the Virtual Universe System are the ones I announced earlier. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled. I'll invite these 20 to rest and recover from the earlier battles. After a while, the next battle will begin. As for who your opponents are, you'll find out during the battle. In the plaza, a group of youths sat casually. Candida, congratulations on making it into the top 100. Don't say any more. Even though I've made it into the top 100, I'm not even in the last 20. The tall and sturdy Candida's face was filled with frustration and unwillingness. Even though every single one of those 20 are powerful, and I don't have a guarantee of winning. However, if I don't truly fight, I still won't be satisfied. Candida, you may not be satisfied, but I'm the same. I don't even have the chance to make it into the top 100. The youths who didn't need to battle were casually chatting. Everyone was interacting and getting to know each other, because from today onwards, many of them would be in contact with each other for a long period of time, becoming companions. And there were 20 that were quietly in a corner. They were all quietly resting and adjusting themselves. Because very quickly, the most important battle was about to begin. The next battle was to determine the top 10. To be able to make it into the top 20, other than Death God Bolin, the other 19 didn't have a 100% guarantee of winning. Just who will my opponent be? Luo Feng's gaze swept his surroundings. 2 of the other 19 were also looking around. One was the Manca youth Wuka, and the other was the fat giant carrying the blood axe, Tao. The Manca youth smiled at Luo Feng, even waving his fist. That fat giant however glanced at Luo Feng, rubbing his ears. The arrangements for this battle haven't been made public, we'll only know when the battle begins. This is probably also a test of one's mental fortitude. Luo Feng didn't think anymore, closing his eyes, following his big brother and second brother's instructions. His mental state gradually entered a peaceful state, quietly waiting for the battle to begin. About half an hour later. Rumble, the entire plaza shook. 10 huge arenas floated in the center of the plaza. The arenas were covered in large amounts of black silk. Simultaneously Luo Feng and the other 20 that were resting were immediately transported into the 10 arenas. Within the arenas. Damn! What a tragedy! That Blood Axe Tao actually encountered Death God Bolin? We're all guessing who's so unlucky to meet Bolin. It's actually Tao, poor bastard. The other 980 geniuses who were watching the battle from afar all began to laugh. On the arena, the fat giant who had always been wild and unruly, Tao, was holding that terrifying giant axe. He was like a ferocious beast staring at the white-robed young man in front of him, but anyone could guess the result. Death God Bolin, that absolute genius that only appears once in a trillion years? Even the Virtual Universe Company, specially for him, increased the number of slots for the primal region to 2. Blood Axe Tao being able to defeat Death God Bolin was simply too low, unless he was the most terrifying genius that appears once in a trillion years. Gu Si Luo against Rong Jun? Gu Si Luo is ranked number 2 in the training space, an extremely perfect monster. There's no way he can be wrong. Out of the 20, only he has the right to battle Bolin. That Rong Jun meeting Gu Si Luo is over. There were many in the plaza staring at Bolin's battle against Tao's arena, however there were still many who were paying attention to the other battle. Hypnotist Jiao Lai Shi against Madman Luo Feng. That hypnotist has met Madman. These two perverts ran into each other. From start to finish, Hypnotist hasn't even made a move in every battle. He's just staring at his opponent and defeating them. I wonder if this madman can withstand it. Hard to say. Hypnotist is the most terrifying spirit reader hypnotist in this genius battle. Till now no one has been able to block his hypnotism, and when he unleashes his hypnotism, he can even use his spirit weapon to do simple long-range attacks. The opponent in his hypnotism wouldn't even know how to defend and would be defeated. Till now, he hasn't even used a spirit weapon. He's only been using hypnotism. One can only imagine how terrifying his hypnotism is. Don't underestimate Madman. I've seen his battle videos, so many of them. I've never seen him panic. His eyes are always cold, almost as though nothing can affect his state of mind. Hypnotist is considered to have the strength of the top 10. Madman too. These two meeting, it's going to be interesting. 10 arenas, 10 battles. Every battle was a tit for tat. Compared to the fight for the top 100, this battle was the true pinnacle of this genius battle. In the arena, on one side was a skinny black-haired youth standing on a dark cloud shuttle, dressed in a dark gray battle robe, carrying a dark golden long rod on his back. On the other side was a tall and skinny black-robed silhouette standing on a black light wheel. Both of them were spirit readers, but they walked the two main paths of spirit readers. One was a controller, and the other was an illusionist. Controllers were more inclined to use their weapons to destroy the body, while hypnotists were more inclined to destroy the opponent's soul. It was extremely difficult for a hypnotist to have great accomplishments. However, the moment one succeeds, it would be terrifying. It was easy to become a controller, however to have great accomplishments was equally difficult. Madman Luo Feng. Hypnotist Jiao Lai Shi's voice was hoarse. He said solemnly, "You have the strength of the top 10, however against me, you'll be excluded from the top 10. Very confident?" Luo Feng smiled, his eyes gleaming even brighter. The two were waiting for the announcement. In the 10 arenas they were all waiting. The victor will enter the top 10. Little punks, don't get careless, your opponents are all very strong. The battles begin. The green-armored purple-scaled man said from afar, his voice resounding within everyone's ears. Almost at the same time, the battles in the 10 arenas erupted. Hypnotist Jia Lai Shi stood on the black light wheel, his eyes cold, his lips moving. Wang, a formless spirit energy ripple, immediately reached before Luo Feng, invading his mind. The spirit energy's speed was simply too fast. While unleashing the hypnotist, Jia Lai Shi waved his hand. The black light wheel beneath his feet immediately became a beam of black light that sliced towards the distant Luo Feng's head. The first time. On the arena, it was the first time Jia Lai Shi's spirit illusion technique and spirit weapon attacked at the same time. Asking for monthly votes very seriously. Tomato thinks that his attitude has been very serious recently. Because I have to prepare for the wedding in April and May, I have a little more time in March to give it a shot. And it's March. Tomato's birthday is also in this month. So, I sincerely hope that all brothers can check if you have a monthly vote. If you do, then support Tomato.